We are at the beautiful campus of Saginaw Valley State University this weekend. All the Michigan high school robotics teams converging here for one last huge blowout weekend. The last weekend of competition. It's the state championship here at SVU in Michigan First Robotics. We welcome you inside the Ryder Center. I'm Dan Gutowski along with Dan Kimura. Kaylee Marentet will join us in just a little bit. Well, Dan, 160 teams come here this weekend. They pack a lot of activity into just a few months and weeks of work. What are we expecting this weekend?
Yeah, so there's over 450 teams in Michigan. We competed at 6 weeks of district events to qualify to come here. So the 160 teams here are the best of the best in Michigan, and we're going to continue narrowing that down. When we start our playoffs here, it's going to just be the best 24 in 4 divisions of that 160. So we've cut it like in half again.
Lots to absorb in terms of competition. Let's revisit the game rules so we can understand what we're going to see today.
All right, the first Robotics 2022 game is called Rapid React. It's kind of an airline-themed game. We've got a couple of easy ways to score. This main hub in the middle, there's a high goal and a low goal. We've also got these bars on the side of the field that you can climb for extra points at the end of the match. A match is 2 minutes and 30 seconds long, but the first 15 seconds are autonomous. And what that means is all these robots are pre-programmed. There are no drivers touching the controls. There are a few ways to score points during the autonomous period. If you drive outside of that taped area, you get 2 points for what we call taxiing. And any balls scored in the high goal are worth 4 points. The low goal is worth 2. After autonomous, the next 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the match, the drivers will step forward, take control of their robot, and they're just trying to score as many balls as they can. Now, during driver-controlled period, or the tele-operated period, high goals are now only worth 2 points, low goals only worth 1. So teams are going to be fighting over the limited number of balls on the field to collect them and shoot them in the goals as fast as they can. With 30 seconds left in the match, we are in what we call endgame. Endgame, you'll see robots heading over towards these monkey bars. You get a different number of points based on how high you can climb. So the low rung is worth 4 points, 6 points if you make it up to the mid, 10 points for the high rung, and the very highest bar, we call the traversal rung, that's worth 15 points. Now, these bars are designed, along with the rules, to make it so that it's very hard to reach all the way up to the top bar. That's why you'll see teams doing the monkey bars and swinging across.
Yeah, and all these robots that we see, Dan, are capable of scoring a lot of points. We've seen that consistently from week to week. Let's bring in the third member of our broadcast now as we check in with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, yeah, stands are packed and energy is high. People are ready to get this day started. Throughout the show, I'm going to be talking to members from both the Red and Blue Alliances. I also got the chance to sit down with some people from our sponsors, Consumers Energy and DTE, and ask them what they're looking for in students and what characteristics they're looking for people to come and join their company. Also, any advice they have for their students throughout the weekend. But for now, I'm going to send it back up to you, Dan and Dan.
All right, Kaylee, thanks. Yeah, lots more to come. The energy in the building always gets a little bit more excited as we get closer to the semifinals and finals. We'll start it next with our match as we set the field for the Michigan First Robotics Championship here at Saginaw Valley State University.
At Consumers Energy, we believe change is imagining. Change is big, small, clean. Him, them, us, you. Together, we can bring clean energy to Michigan and protect the environment for generations to come. Learn about your clean energy choices and how you can become a force of change. consumersenergy.com/change.
If you want to continue enjoying the excitement of robotics, come check out what's going on at Kettering University, including their combat robotics team and First Center. Turn your robotics experience into a professional career. Be sure to apply to Kettering beginning in August of 2022. Go to kettering.edu/apply to learn more.
DTE believes leaders are defined by doing what's right, not what's easy. So we're tripling renewables and cutting carbon emissions in half over the next 10 years and using cleaner natural gas. Working even harder to create a future where producing affordable, reliable energy doesn't contribute to climate change. Because to lead, we have to do what's right. DTE.
A third-seeded alliance against a fourth-seeded alliance. The winner is propelling themselves into the semifinals. So we've seen these two teams go head-to-head 2 different times now. How does that set up for kind of a winner-take-all third set?
It really is anybody's match, but the robot we have to keep an eye on is 5460. That's the strike zone robot out of Lapeer High School. They broke their hanger in their final finals match in the last round. Right, so here they've been trying to fix it. We saw it not work in the first match. A bunch of penalties against the Blue Alliance gave Red Alliance a very comfortable 140-94 win. But Blue came back, our number 3 seed came back in the next finals match, 131-118. But 5460 still at the end game, their robot sort of stopped working. We didn't see them go for that hang. So if this robot is working and can hang, the edge is probably with the number 3 seed. If this robot is not fully functional and can't hang, then the advantage is probably with the number 4 seed.
Yeah, the separation between all of these robots now gets so compact and small. Even just not being able to execute one hang becomes much more significant now.
Right, yeah, I mean, so they basically left 15 points on the table in that match. And, you know, these matches, the last one, 131-118, right? That's a 13-point victory. So you leave 15 points on the table, and it's not looking good for you.
Every mistake or non-get of points is going to be much more significant. And again, the winner is moving into the semifinals. So, yeah, there's a lot of anxiety, adrenaline, especially now as these kids are so deep into the season and this weekend, which has already been, you know, long and taxing for them. Got to dig down and find that extra gear. Let's show the bracket and explain how we got all the way through these through this bracket to get to these final 2 teams, the 3rd and the 4th seed.
Yeah, so again, we have 4 divisions here at the Michigan State Championship. The other 3 divisions are finished. They were all won by the number 1 seed. But here, number 1 upset by number 8 right off the bat. Number 7 upset number 2. So our top 2 seeds went out in the quarterfinals of this field. And then 3 and 4 doing a good job in the semifinals to kind of, you know, hold their higher seed advantage. And that brings us here to the finals where they are 1-1. And you can see our number 3 alliance in particular, semifinals, it took them 3 matches to get here. Finals, if they're going to win, it's going to take them 3 matches again. So they've had no easy road.
Are we surprised that a 1 and a 2 seed both get bumped early?
It's almost unheard of this year. I think a lot of people would say that the number 1 seed on this field was maybe not the best high goal shooter, and that cost them a little bit, but definitely still a shock.
So we start with the autonomous period. And again, this is 15 seconds of just straight shooting. Yep, and pretty much everybody on the mark.
5460, I think, has not fired a ball. It's just sitting in the robot. 3538 does a good job to come from behind there and sink their late ones. So it's a very close match coming out of autonomous mode. Just 8-point lead for Red.
Yeah, big autonomous points for both teams. That 5460 robot jumps to life. That's the Center for Innovation robot from Lapeer High School.
Yep, we got to keep an eye on that robot. That's the one that's been having the mechanical problems. And also, that's a nice move by them. They kind of pick up, if they ever pick up the other team's ball, a red ball in this case, they just try to spit it into a hard-to-get place. So it's an extra way of playing some sneaky defense.
See a lot of Blue Alliance cargo going up into that upper hub. They've got a slim lead here. Both teams have crossed the 50-point barrier. Still lots of time to get a lot more points.
Yep, and number 3 Alliance in blue, right, has won the cargo section of this match in both of the previous 2 final matches. So they were able to overcome that autonomous deficit. And it's a sizable lead now. 10, it's going to be 14 here in a second.
One of the Blue Alliance robots chasing a ball into their hangar zone area. And the defense by the Red Alliance, especially that Jackson County ISD robot, really putting on some good pressure.
Yep, and that is 35-38 is sort of playing the hardest position here. They're going deep into the red side of the field for balls, and 26-11 is doing their best to make them pay every chance they get.
Still very close, about a 10-point swing in favor of the Blue Alliance. We'll see who starts to go to the hanger zone first.
17, 18, and 20-54 got tangled up on each other. A little bit of a miscommunication. They went for the same balls, and they got stuck together for a few seconds, and that's let Blue really stretch the lead. It's up now to 21 points, and that's enough. If you can stay up by 20 points, you can afford to miss that 15-point hang.
So we hear that whistle. That signals some of these robots to go into the hanger zone. Again, you go high rung, you get more points. Red Alliance in great shape. Blue Alliance a little bit slow to get in position.
Yep, but strike zone, 54-60. Is their hanger working or not? That's what we want to see from them. And this will matter if they win going forward. That looks like a problem. Only one hook went out. 35-38, not able to get on the bar at all. 33-22 does get a medium bar. So that is going to be a 10-pointer and a 6-pointer for Blue. Meanwhile, on Red, we have a 15-pointer and a 6-pointer. So Red takes the advantage in the end game, but I think Blue was up by enough at the end of Teliop.
So we got to really scrutinize if there is any air under these red robots. You can obviously see that one is well up in the air, but that 2054 machine from Hopkins High School, that may be critical.
So here's where they grab that red ball, and they just kind of spit it out the back once they realize they have it. Actually, they were holding 3 balls there, so that should have been a penalty. I don't know if that was called or not, but we caught them on replay here. 17-18 playing some defense, and that was a nice job by 17-18, sort of switching back and forth between the offensive defensive roles.
And here's the climb.
Yep, 26-11 doing a great job here. What we have to watch with this 2054 robot is they were touching the ground when we got that late camera shot. The hangs are scored 5 seconds after the match ends. So if they were slowly coming down, they might still have gotten those points.
And you can see that one comes up with only one hook on it. So that's not really textbook hanging. So the match is under review as the officials are making sure they sort out the appropriate penalty points, which sometimes can be meaningful.
Yeah, so that with the 3 balls that we saw, I think you have some time to get rid of the 3rd ball. So if you pick it up on accident and you dump it out right away, you're going to be okay. Usually it's about 3 seconds. They say momentary. And so the refs might have seen them as they were getting rid of it and decided that wasn't long enough for a penalty. We'll have to see if there were any other penalties that could change this around.
Well, you can hear the applause. The folks inside the arena here are celebrating, and they are tabulating the final score. So it's been presented to the audience here inside the arena. And here it is, a 129-107 Blue Alliance win. That puts them into the semifinals. They rally after losing the first match to this Red Alliance.
Yep, so our number 3 alliance is our DTE division winner. They're going to meet our other 3 division winners in the semifinals for the whole Michigan State Championship. And we can see again, it all comes down to cargo. The Blue Alliance won cargo for the 3rd match in a row, and they won by enough of a cushion to protect that, that loss in hanger points.
Cargo is king. Let's go down in the pits and join Kaylee Marinton.
Hey guys, I have a member of the Blue Alliance here with me, Adam. Adam, how you feeling right now?
I'm pretty good. I'm feeling happy about that last match. It went well. It was pretty smooth, so I'm good, doing good right now.
What was going through your mind in those final moments when they were tallying that up?
It was a little nerve-wracking because we whiffed our climb. We lost all our air system, but I had faith and it went well.
What do you think is going to be the biggest obstacle for your team going into the next round?
I think our biggest obstacle will be like tuning in our shooter. We've been missing some of our shots. Most of them have been going in, but there's still some that aren't quite getting it. So we want to try and tune that in so we can get it more consistent.
You guys obviously doing something right. What went right for you guys?
Our robot has been very stable at this competition. I think that's our biggest thing. We haven't had any like super major failures. We've had some small things here and there, but overall the robot has not fully broken to the point where it can't be repaired.
Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. All right, well, good luck. Thank you, Adam. Back to you guys.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. Dan, nice response from the Blue Alliance, rallying to win the last two to advance.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it looks like that the Strike Zone Robot 5460 out of Lapeer has fixed their issues. Almost. We saw them hang, but not quite make it to the traversal bar. The good news for this alliance, though, is we're going to have a lunch break here, so they're going to have some time to go, make sure that robot is completely ready to go before we start our semifinal matches.
Okay, we'll take a break here. When we come back, it is going to be Chris Husang from DTE joining us and giving us some sponsorship perspective on this great weekend of Michigan First Robotics from Saginaw Valley State University.
DTE believes leaders are defined by doing what's right, not what's easy. So we're tripling renewables and cutting carbon emissions in half over the next 10 years and using cleaner natural gas. Working even harder to create a future where producing affordable, reliable energy doesn't contribute to climate change. Because to lead, we have to do what's right. DTE.
How do you change the way the world moves? Change course. Active is engineering the brain and the nervous system to bring the future of mobility to life with advanced computing platforms and smart vehicle architecture, taking you from point A to point B and every point in between. We are Active, and we're moving mobility forward.
I got into energy because I really love playing around with cutting-edge technology.
I got into energy because ever since I was a kid, I've been a social butterfly.
I got into energy because I didn't want to spend all day in an office.
I got into energy because I have always been a problem solver.
I got into energy because I wanted to work in a skilled trade.
I got into energy because I know that it's stable local work.
There are lots of reasons to get into energy, and chances are we have a career that's right for you. Get inspired at consumersenergy.com/careers.
Michigan First Robotics is brought to you by Consumers Energy. Count on us. Ford Motor Company. Aptiv. Kettering University. FCA Foundation. DTE Foundation. The great corporate sponsors who are out in full force supporting Michigan First Robotics. They play such an important role in making all of this happen, not just today, but for the whole season. Let's get some perspective on that as we rejoin Kaylee Marentet.
Hey everyone, I'm here with Chris Husang with DTE Energy. Chris, tell me how excited you are for this weekend.
Oh, just amazing. I mean, I look forward to this weekend every year.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Just mad that we missed those last couple, so this is great.
I know. How would you think the energy here is compared? Does it feel like we've been waiting years for this?
Yes, you can feel it. You can feel it in the pitch. You can feel it here. It is absolutely amazing.
All right, so I got to ask, what characteristics are you looking for these students when it comes to DTE? What kind of job characteristics are you looking for?
Oh, okay. Well, we're a company that likes to think we work to be best for the world and best in the world. And so we want to find individuals who want to bring that creativity, the innovation, the ability to collaborate and connect with others and network. The STEM fields, technology, problem solvers, individuals who are willing to be learners constantly, thinking, innovating, continuously improving to help us transform the energy industry moving forward.
How important is robotics for students who want to go into maybe DTE?
Mm-hmm. Well, this program itself, I mean, you can imagine that each team is basically running a small business. Mm-hmm. So they're doing everything from marketing to fundraising to innovation, collaboration, all of that. And so that's all of the stuff that we would love to have, whether you're going to be an engineer or you're going to be a person working out on the lines or somebody in marketing or in human resources. I want individuals who can bring that creative ability and have transferable skills to do lots of things at DTE.
Sure. What would you tell students who want to get involved or maybe do want to work for DTE one day?
Oh, gosh, yes. If you want to build a career, not just a job, then DTE is one of the best places to be. We love to transfer and move you around, challenge you, give you amazing opportunities to work in our communities. And it just, that's what we love, and that's what we want to bring. And like I said again, it's all about having that career and being able to experience a variety of things and do what you love.
I like that you there was a difference between, you said, a job and a career. Sometimes a job is just 9 to 5, a career is something you're passionate for,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Why did you decide to work at DTE? What drew you in?
Yeah, I would say it's the culture. Primarily, it was when you walk in the door, you feel the energy. You feel that they care about you as an individual. It's all about, like, the employee first. We have this thing that we say we want to be 200% accountable. That means you be accountable for yourself, and you're accountable for your person next to you. So you're always 200% accountable. We expand that to be 300% accountable. To be accountable for yourself, your colleagues, and the communities where you live and work.
Why did you decide to be a part of robotics?
Oh, gosh. It's, just the energy. I've loved it, being a part of it, going to some of the regional events, then coming to states. It's so exciting. You feel the energy, and you just love hearing just the power and the intelligence and just the amazing passion of the youth that participate.
That's amazing. And you touched on this a little bit earlier, but what opportunities would DTE offer to somebody? I know you mentioned human relations and engineering and all those different paths, but if you just want to expand on that a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. We start off with internships. So we offer internships in almost any field. So we have jobs in the summer. We have co-op positions. So if you're in college, you could do that as well. We do have high school programs. So we have them come in and work part-time. But then you could just name it. DT Energy is a big company. It's, 10,000 employees, and we offer jobs all over the place. We, from anything, marketing, legal, HR, engineering, all engineering. We're a big engineering company. So we love that. And then any type of chemical capability, nuclear engineering, all wonderful positions.
Great. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Chris, and we're happy to have you here.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to send it back to you guys.
All right.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. And, we are getting closer to our semifinal matches. Our first match will feature a 1 against a 4 seed. And again,
it's 3 seed, actually.
It's actually, I'm sorry?
It was a 3 seed.
A 3 seed, okay. There's been a lot of activity. So let's break down the bracket in the Ford division. And these are all 2-0 wins. So explain this bracket to us.
Yep, so remember we have 4 different divisions here. Each one is a different field name. So this was our Ford division. Our winners were the number 1 seed, and they made it through perfect, right? No losses, and their margin of victory was actually quite large. So the Ford, they were winning by an average of 31 points per match. So a pretty easy road here to the Final Four for our 4 division champions, 35, 39, 33, and 71, 78.
Okay, I was looking at the wrong sheet. So, that's how this one. That's how the second semifinal will shape up with the Killer Bees, Biting Bulldogs, and Yeti.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, sometimes the names will throw you a little bit. And then that's Engineered's Team Rush and Tornadoes on the Red Alliance there. Let's go back downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee.
Hey everyone, Randy Strawsign from Ford here with me. Randy, tell me how excited you are for this weekend.
Oh, really excited. It's great to be back in person with all these great teams. A lot of fun.
Yes.
Great to see the students get involved and get really, really excited about the event.
Sure.
So,
all right.
yeah.
So Ford is a sponsor of First Robotics. Tell me, why is it important to sponsor events like this?
Well, we think it's really important to sponsor events like this because it's really, really important to get these students excited and inspired about STEM careers and education. Because this is our future workforce, right?
Exactly.
We need to make sure these kids are there for us, we're there for them, and give them, great careers as they, grow into adults.
Sure.
So, yeah.
What skills do you think robotics and STEM careers bring into companies like Ford?
Oh, programming, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. I mean, just a gamut of, STEM. And honestly, even some of it's non-STEM related. We look at project management, all that, because these teams are like little businesses on their own.
Exactly.
So these students are just building excellent skills, soft skills that they probably don't even realize. So it's really exciting.
Sure. What would you give students advice for that want to get involved in companies like Ford?
Well, I would tell them, try some stuff out. First Robotics is a great example of this. If you think you might want to try something out, try something before you go to college, before you build up a career, so that we understand what you like or what you don't like. And First Robotics is a great way to do that. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Ford does get involved with STEM and robotics. Tell me a little bit more about your involvement with them.
Yeah, so Ford goes a lot more than just First Robotics. They're one of our biggest sponsors that we do. We're a strategic partner with First. But we do a lot of other things with other organizations that have a similar feel, but it's still got that underlying, let's get them exposed, excited about STEM careers and education, and see what they can do.
What opportunities does Ford offer to students?
So for students, we do have internships. So students that are interested in working at Ford Motor Company, we do start at the freshman year. It's something new we started a couple years ago. So we do have freshman through senior college years internships. And we do have a couple of high school programs, but they're relatively small. They're not as big as our first program, but a couple of small high school programs that we do over the summer.
Are you guys located all over the state, or where can these students get involved?
Yeah, it's primarily in Detroit, Dearborn area, but we are looking to expand. We are starting to open up new facilities in Kentucky and Tennessee. We have facilities in California and Florida. So we're looking to expand our STEM programming to those areas.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What advice would you give these students in general right now while they're trying to get through this weekend and also have you guys watching them?
Oh, yeah. Have fun. First and foremost, have fun. Walk away and tell yourself you learned something, right?
They probably did, too.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. They learned something about themselves and something about, STEM. Right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank you so much for your time,
welcome.
and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
we're glad you're here.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All right,
okay, thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, Kaylee, yes, lots of corporate support and input and guidance from the mentors, but of course it all trickles up to the companies that are willing to put their money where their mouth is, per se. And as we segue off that topic, Gail Alpert is one of the Dynamo workers who is the president of First in Michigan, and pretty much anything that you see or hear today is part of what her passion is, to make this a huge event and help the Michigan companies benefit from it. And today, the Michigan companies paying back to Gail.
On behalf of the Dream Maker Fund, and frankly all the dreams that have come through because of our experience in science, technology, and math, and our career experiences, we are pleased today to present a $450,000 check to First of Michigan.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you, Gail. On behalf
On behalf of First in Michigan, we graciously accept.
Thank you, Gail. Keep up the good work, everyone. Now get out there and win some matches today. Let's do this.
Gail, a consummate professional. Did you notice, Dan, how she let the applause just continue and continue? She let that pause hold there, and she kind of soaked it all in. Great job, Gail. No, she deserves all the applause that she gets. She does a great job getting this launched many, many years ago and continues to take it to new heights every year.
Yeah, really the architect behind First in Michigan, right? She kind of had the drive to build this from nothing, and the growth of teams in Michigan, as well as the number of events we have and the quality of the robots here are all, kind of based on the work that she's done.
Okay. Downstairs we go. Another check-in with Kaylee.
Hey everyone, Megan Hayward from Consumers Energy. He's sitting here with me. Megan, tell me, why did Consumers Energy decide to sponsor this?
Oh, such a great question, Kaylee. So Consumers Energy has been a First in Michigan sponsor for years. We found it, we loved it, we knew those were the students of our future and the future of Michigan. And we just love STEM. It brings all the right skills, and so we joined because we needed to invest in Michigan, and these are the right people to invest in.
You said it gives kids these skills. What are some of those skills you think?
Well, abundant skills. My favorite, they have all of the skills of teamwork. And teamwork, when they run into a problem, they work the problem, they know what to do together, and they're bringing all the best minds. At Consumers Energy, we know the future of the energy industry has new problems coming up to solve. And that teamwork, that thought process, and their problem-solving skills, they're just fantastic.
Would you say those are some of the key characteristics that Consumers Energy looks for in students that they want to bring into the company?
Most definitely. So not only those teamwork and problem-solving skills, but another one that's really critical that these students are learning is the value of community.
Yes.
So at Consumers Energy, we're across the whole lower peninsula of Michigan, and we live in these communities. We want to invest in them. We want to make sure it's cherished and beautiful. And these students have those same thoughts and values. So it's a perfect match for us supporting them and for building what we can be together.
If students want to get involved or maybe want to join in and be an employee of Consumers Energy, what advice would you give them right now?
I would say yes. I would say yes, please join the energy industry. It's booming, it's so exciting, and they can do it in so many ways. So we have interns, we have so many internships. We have them in business, we have them in IT, security, engineering. Those are a start. But other students might be interested in working with their hands. We have skilled trades, apprenticeship programs. If somebody wants to be working with their hands down the road, we have line workers, we have welders, and we'd love to take students in every way, shape, and form.
Sure. So I feel like Consumers Energy has focused a lot on like a green initiative almost. Can you tell me about some of those goals and initiatives that Consumers Energy has set up for the future?
Oh, yes. So we have amazing goals to be coal-free by 2040.
Yep.
We also have goals to be net zero carbon emissions by 2050. Those are amazing and wonderful.
Those are
we
big
don't
goals.
know how we're getting there yet.
Okay.
And so these minds, these students, they'll be part of that solution.
Sure.
I mean, we're calling that they're driving Michigan's future.
Okay.
We're at a goal to also have 1 million electric vehicles on the road, and we want to be charging them and bringing them forward. So those are the goals for Clean Michigan, clean energy, and those students are part of it.
Great. So you talked a little bit about internships and these opportunities. Where can these students go? Maybe if they live all the way around the state, what places are you guys at that these students can go to and potentially join the company?
Yep, wonderful question. So Consumers Energy is located and services customers around the lower peninsula of Michigan. So we do have, our hometown of Jackson. We love Jackson, but we're everywhere else. Up to Traverse, down to the south part of the state, and up to the Thumb, everywhere, and we will have offices and roles for each one.
Gotcha. Okay. What would you want to tell these students right now that are maybe unsure of what they want to go into or not sure if Consumers Energy is right for them?
Ask questions. They are very inquisitive, so keep asking questions. Keep being learners. So if they don't know what they want to do yet, it's okay.
Yeah.
They can keep digging. Just dig into the energy industry. There's more to it than you know.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time, Megan, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Kaylee.
All right. Back to you guys.
All right, lest you think that Dan and I are all out of sorts, you're seeing practice sessions right now. So that's live, but they're getting some practice time. Is that valuable time for these robots?
Most of the teams were actually playing on a different field. So these fields are built by our field crew for each event. And they're not identical. They're really close, but there is some give. You might have an extra inch here, extra half inch here. So it really helps for the teams that had not been on this field all weekend and tuning in and dialing into it to get on the field, run a couple practice matches, calibrate their sensors, anything like that. The lighting might be different on this side of the gym than it was where they were playing on the other side of the gym. And so this is really, really important to sort of just even the playing field because one of our alliances was on this field all weekend.
Well, let's do another bracket preview and start to break down the other semifinal match. This is the Consumers Energy Division bracket. And well, what's our takeaway from this?
It's kind of the same as the last one we looked at. Again, a #1 seed, going 6-0, undefeated through these playoffs. If you had to pick a favorite amongst all of the alliances we're going to see here, it's probably this #1 seed from Consumers Energy. 27 is, I think many would argue, the best team in the state right now. We do some statistics stuff. We'll pull some numbers based on how teams are doing in their matches. It's something we call OPR, or Offensive Power Ranking. It's a little bit complicated how we derive that number, but basically you have 3 robots in a match, and they put up a score, and we're trying to figure out how much of that score is attributed to each of the individual robots. So it's a way for us to kind of calculate how good a robot is. 27's OPR was like in the 70s. The next highest robots were sort of in the 50s. So they are kind of standing way ahead of everybody else in terms of that calculated number. Now, calculated is not real. It doesn't necessarily mean they're actually scoring 20 more points a match, but it definitely sets them up as our powerhouse team. 23-37, the Engineers out of Grand Blanc, also a very, very good team. They've got a solid auto mode as well, and just ability to pick up and shoot in the high goal. 50-90, they've been having play defense, and has been doing a pretty good job of that, as their average margin of victory also, well over 30 points.
Yeah, the metrics are always meaningful. Let's get back with Kaylee. She's talking with a representative of one of those Consumer Alliance robots.
Hey guys, I'm here with John from Rush, Team 27. John, congratulations. You guys just won your division in Consumers Energy. Tell me how you're feeling right now.
I'm very excited, though. Try and keep it on the wraps because we're not done yet. We still have the rest of the tournament to go to hopefully win states. I mean, we won division. It's just one step at a time right now.
What do you think was the biggest key in winning the division?
I really think since last night, we actually met with our alliance partners at our hotel. We talked some strategy. We really got to know each other, and that kind of teamwork was able to help us really secure the win.
So do you guys think you're a different team today than you were yesterday?
Yes, definitely. We have grown a lot. I mean, we started to include the other teams as well, so you can even call them part of our alliance and members. So.
Very good. Okay, what do you think is going to take you to win states? What's it going to take?
It's going to be one ball at a time. I mean, everyone in our alliance has to focus one ball at a time, one match at a time, not get ahead of ourselves and just do the best we can.
All right, what do you want to tell your teammates going into the rest of the day?
Just thank you for all your support, guys. We can't do it without you, so thank you.
All right, thanks, John, and congratulations. We'll be catching up with you later. All right, back to you guys.
And here's the Aptive division bracket. Again, the #1 seeds from Kalamazoo County, Novi High School, and Bentley High School. Your thoughts on them?
Yeah, 27-67, you got to start talking about them. That this is Strikeforce. They're a 2-time world champion. So they've been around the block. They've definitely won on the biggest stage. And they were the #1 seed in this division. But in the finals, that one match they lost, they actually got flipped over. They flipped on their side and weren't able to finish the match. That's how they lost to the #6 seed in the finals. They righted it, though, came back in the tiebreaker match and did a great job to secure their space here at the Final Four. 503, another really good robot shooting in the high goal. And this is kind of going to be another of those prototypical alliances. 27-67 and 503 are going to be scoring high. 56-12 has been playing defense. And this alliance, something to watch for. They've got one extra trick up their sleeve. 27-67 at this event has started hanging on the traversal bar and then shooting any balls they have left from the traversal bar at the high goal on the hub. So we got to keep an eye out for that at the end of the matches.
That's a new one. Interesting strategy, but hey, all bets are off when it comes to, trying to make that final push and claim a championship, a possible state championship today. And we got a little time, Dan. Let's flash forward to what's coming up past this weekend. There is an opportunity for some of the better teams here to advance to nationals. Explain how that process works.
Yeah. So again, we've been playing for 6 weeks. At each district event in those first 6 weeks of competition, teams have earned points. You get points for winning matches. You get points for making it farther in the playoffs. You'll get points for awards. All of those things kind of come together. The top 160 teams in the state of Michigan, based on that points ranking, qualified to come here to the state championship. Now, at the state championship, you get points for the same things, but the point values are tripled. So winning here is like winning 3 district events. the top, I think it's 63 or 64, it's somewhere in the 60s teams here, are going to then qualify for the World Championship. I believe it's 64 in Houston. So they're going to go down to Houston next weekend. So teams are actually, as soon as this event is done and they announce who is qualified, teams are going to be crating their robots up, sending them off to get shipped, crated down to the Houston venue. And then the teams are probably going to go home for a couple days and then either hit the road or get on a plane to be there in time for the World Championships.
Yeah, not much turnaround time. Let's go back down in the pits and reconnect with Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with Avery from 2767. Avery, you just won the Aptive division. Tell me how you're feeling right now.
Feeling awesome. We're so ready for the finals for Einstein. It was so good to win. We had a lot of difficulties, but it just felt so awesome.
What were some of those difficulties?
So in our last match before our tie, we fell over. We went over some wires on the field and we just fell right over. And then we had an intake problem in the semifinals, and so we didn't win that match.
What was going through your mind when you were having those problems? What got you and your team through that difficult time?
Yeah, so it was really hard because just like losing, it's not good for anyone. And so we were kind of just like, we need to get in that mindset, like we are going to win, and even if we lose, we'll still have so much fun. But just, we were kind of disappointed that like our intake and that we fell over, but we talked it out and we got new strategy and we figured it out and we just got through it and we just won.
Awesome, congratulations. What are you going to take into you, or what do you think is going to be your biggest obstacle going into the next round?
Our biggest obstacle is going to be consumer division. They have Rush and they have Joe's over there, and also DTE will also be hard with those teams, but we're just going to go in confident, ready if we're going to win or lose, but we're just that confidence to go in and win.
Got to keep that mindset. All right, thank you, Avery, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Well, Dan, we have been whittling the field down. Here is where we're at. Semifinals, 12 machines left. And here we go.
Yeah. So let's see. We'll take a look at our first matchup. We're going to be seeing DTE going up against Aptive. DTE, interestingly, that was a third seed that made it out of DTE field, not a first seed. The other three fields are all represented by their top-seeded alliance. Actually, interesting trivia tidbit, the last two state championships were not won by a number 1 seed. They were won by a number 3 seed, so maybe they've got a little history on their side. I don't know if that counts for anything, but there it is. And this alliance, let's see, in this matchup, right, the average margin of victory that we saw for the DTE alliance was only about 18.5 points. So they really had to fight for every win that they were getting. Meanwhile, the Aptive division winners were something like 51.5 point average margin of victory. So they were having huge wins and huge blowouts. But on the flip side, their average score for the Aptive division champions was only about 112. The average score for our DTE division champions was much, much higher. It was in the like mid-120s, about 124, I think.
And again, it's a best 2 of 3. So depending on how efficiently the Red Alliances do, that maybe, you know, things sometimes get elongated. We've seen situations where the Red Alliance wins the first one. Blue Alliance can come back and win the next 2.
Yeah, and it's important to remember here, normally in our district events that we've been covering, the higher seeded alliance is usually in the red bumpers. So you kind of expect the Red Alliance to be the favorites in a match. But here, we have 4 kind of equal divisions, 4 champions from each division, and the color of the bumpers that they're wearing is more or less random.
So you can see the striker robot. Everybody getting into position. For some reason, the program a little bit slower today. We're a little bit, I don't want to say behind, but we're not, let's just say we're not pacing quite as quickly as we thought we would.
Definitely a little behind. We had the schedule moved back on us. And, you know, the issue primarily has been there are sensors on that top hub, actually both the top and lower hub, the goals. And those sensors are there to count the balls as they roll back onto the field. Occasionally, either through dust or through the sensors going bad or whatever it is that's causing it, you'll get a miscount from the sensors. And when that happens, it takes some time for the field crew to kind of come out, check over the field, figure out what it is, recalibrate the sensors. And we ran into some of those issues early in our playoffs here on the DTE field. And that's kind of where our delays came from. They think they have it fixed. But, you know, we do have
human checkers also counting the scores, so we'll know if there's a big discrepancy, and we'll know if there's an issue with the field to take care of.
Any last-minute changes? Any strategical final thoughts that these teams go through right now? You know, sometimes that extra time, if you need that time to, you know, rebuild something on your robot, that's good. If you're just sitting around, you know, kind of waiting and getting anxious, then maybe not so good.
Yeah, I was wandering kind of around the team pit areas in between the end of our divisional playoffs and here for our Final Four, and I didn't see anybody really wrenching away on their robot. I also didn't see anybody kind of huddled together and going over strategy or stats. So I think all 4 of our winners are actually relatively comfortable with what they were doing, and I would expect everybody to start with the strategy that won them their division, and then if they lose, make adjustments from there.
And again, you know, we've referenced this throughout. The margin of error can be so impactful. You know, even one missed hang is going to be possibly critical. Most of these teams by now, you know, they're going to shoot well with, you know, in shooting the cargo, you know, getting to the upper hub, you know, doing well in autonomous, but it's the hangs, penalties. Got to be careful of those too, right? That's kind of a wild card.
Yeah, penalties especially. We want to watch very carefully in autonomous mode too, because there are going to be so many robots shooting at that center goal at the same time. If you're unlucky and your balls bounce out, that could be very impactful as well. Just miss a couple balls there, that's 8 points, right? 2 balls, there are 4 points apiece. So we got to watch and make sure everybody's balls stay in autonomous mode, and then of course endgame is going to make a big difference. But there are points, especially in this match, where we're going to see if the defensive robot can make a difference. So it looks like we're going to expect 56-12 from our Blue Alliance, from the active field, to be playing defense. Meanwhile, the Red Alliance from DTE has been playing all 3 robots on offense. And so their issue is less about, you know, do we have our defender in the right spot, slowing down their score. Their problem has been, are we sharing the balls, like, you know, correctly, right? Are we getting in each other's way? Are we making sure to get the balls as soon as they hit the floor? And so we're going to kind of see a clash of styles here in this first match.
Yeah, distribution is critical. We just saw the Roboraptors machine. And again, it's amazing. Earlier we saw from the Biting Bulldogs. They were bringing out the hardware, working on their machine. So the tweaking really, I mean, it never really stops, does it?
Yeah, for sure. And you can see we got a good look kind of there of just how they line these robots up. You've got to start your robot in exactly the same spot, pointing the exact same direction for your autonomous mode to work. And they've had a lot of practice doing that. Meanwhile, we got to look at the Frog Force. This is 503's driver station. And that's the controls, right? So it's a laptop connected to some game pads. It looked like we had thumbs down for 503, which means I think they were just finishing setting up their driver station. Meanwhile, we are waiting for perhaps this last robot to get connected here. You can see, I think everybody is connected to the field now. So we're just waiting. I think now we're just waiting on the introductions.
We've got DTE versus Active. Who's about DTE? What about Active? Whoa! Why don't we meet the teams?
So they do have a very well-structured kind of pre-match ritual in terms of introducing the teams to the audience. Obviously, they want to kind of maximize the palpable energy that's already in the building. So here's what we have for the DTE Foundation semifinal 1. The Avondale Robo Jackets Strike Zone from Lapeer High School and Skyline High School Robotics. They all compose the Red Alliance. As we flip it and look at the Blue Alliance, Frog Force, Novi High School, Strike Force, Kalamazoo County 4-H, and the Roboraptors from Bentley High School. Of these 6 robots we're going to see, are there any new ones on the scene that are a little bit under the radar? We don't know a lot about them, except they've had a great year so far.
Well, 33-22 and 56-12, I believe this is going to be their first time on our Final Four here at the state championship. 503, I think, as well, this is their first time making it this far. Now, 503 is a really old, well-established team. They've won a lot of Chairman's Award, which is sort of like an outreach award, so they do a ton of stuff for first. But this is one of the best robots I've ever seen from them.
And their autonomous period begins. 15 seconds of straight shooting. And a lot of makes there. I think maybe a miss for the Red Alliance, but...
Red missed 1, blue missed 2 right now.
And again, after 15 seconds, then it's the teleop period. That runs pretty much the whole rest of this.
It looks like blue had like a 4-point lead, 18-14 coming out of autonomous mode.
Red Alliance trying to establish a little dominance early. We can see that a little bit of defense. Blue Alliance machine 56-12. The Robo Raptors from Bentley. That's the defensive specialist, and they're putting it on the Robo Jackets from Avondale High School.
And that's the matchup that's probably going to decide the outcome of this match. If the defender wins, then it's going to be a blue victory.
Blue Alliance has a little work to do. They were on the wrong side of the scoreboard coming out of autonomous.
Yeah, and here we can see this is, again, the Red Alliance is using the 3 offensive robot strategy. So 33-22, who's a very good offensive robot, but maybe not so great against defense. Look, they're left completely alone. They've got half a field to themselves, and they are just continuing to shoot and score.
Yeah, that 33-22 robot, the Skyline Robotics, all offense and very effective. They're holding that lead at a little more than 10 points.
Yep. And again, 35-38 versus the defense, right? 35-38 is choosing to play in the hardest part of the field where they can't see against the defense, and really just sort of trying to open the field up for their teammates.
Boy, the accuracy of the shooting really stands out.
Meanwhile, we've got Strikeforce 27-67 just sort of flying around the field as well, making a lot of shots.
All of a sudden, the Red Alliance has just blown this up, and they are blowing the Blue Alliance out of the water.
That score I don't think is correct. I think we have a miscount of balls, and so that score is going to get adjusted downward.
Yeah.
I believe Red is ahead.
But not by
that
100
much at
points.
all. So these hangs are gonna matter. So we can see this 54-60 again broke that hanger early in their divisional playoffs. So we really want to see them get a traversal here just to know that everything is okay. Meanwhile, there is the shots from Strikeforce from 27-67 on the traversal bar. They hit 1 of 2. It does have to go through the gate to get scored.
And it did.
It did in time. Yeah, you get, I think, 5 seconds after the end of the match for that ball to make it through. So if it's actually popcorning inside there, it won't count.
Well, that is a spectacular finish. And, yeah, my eyes deceived me definitely when we saw those numbers up on the board. I'm not sure we're going to get a 200-point performance out of the Red Alliance.
And we talked a little bit about this. This is what our delay was caused by. Some of those kind of phantom or ghost scores happening. So it jumped up. They were under 100, and then all of a sudden it was 150 and almost 200 points. And that, is just not physically possible. So the field staff is gathering together. They're going to check with the hand counts. They're going to make sure all the hand counts match. They're going to try to understand what happened. And really, they're going to have to decide if this match stands or not. If there was a big enough problem to where they're going to have to redo the match.
So here's how it started in autonomous.
Yep. So again, 27-67, 1 unlucky bounce out, and then 1 unlucky bounce out from 503. Meanwhile, Red doing a little bit of a better job. Avondale there coming up 35-38 and hitting those 2 at the very end of autonomous mode.
Here's the blue hang. And let's see if we can see, if we get lucky, we can see where they fire at that cargo ball.
Yep, so Strikeforce, once they're kind of hooked on this last one, and you can see they actually let go very slowly so they're not shaking as much, and that gives them that stable platform. On this side, we got to watch 54-60 though, because 54-60, we have not seen a successful traversal climb from 54-60 since the divisional semifinals 2 rounds ago. And you can see they're struggling a little bit here.
And here's some of the defense that we saw earlier.
Yep, a great job by 56-12. It's like you can pin a robot for 3 seconds, and what 56-12 is doing here is pinning them for the 2 count and then backing up. Just wasting as much time as they can from 35-38. And then just right back on them. I mean, like, look at how long it takes for them to get past to even get into a shooting position. So great match there. We're kind of on hold here as we wait to find out, how they're going to deal with that ball miscount.
So the challenge really could end up being that those sensors at the top are really in the upper hub. That's where everyone's shooting.
Yep.
If those sensors are off, are they going to maybe possibly make an adjustment that way?
Right, yeah.
To repair them.
They're out there. They're looking at the sensors. They're probably working on recalibrating them right now. They may run through a test. Also, we can see, at the scoring table, they're checking in with First. So First in New Hampshire has remote support. So one of the people that designed and created this field control system is there, and they're talking to that person about, what kind of changes they might have to make in order to make it work. And they're also going to be checking with, any of the volunteers that they had that were counting the goals. And the issue is this: if the people that were counting the goals by hand all agree with the score, then we might be able to go with that score. But if the score changing in the middle of the match was enough to impact the outcome of the match, they might replay it anyway. So we've got sort of a bunch of different things that they're going to check here and decide whether or not they can keep the score standing or not. And it also does look like, as they sort of get ready for the next match, this is probably lost in the shuffle, but we have all 3 red robots on the field for what would be our semifinal match 2 here. We have none of the blue robots, and actually, I believe the Blue Alliance, which is from Ford Field, is going to call their timeout. Everybody gets 1 timeout that they can call, and that just gives you a little bit of extra time to fix the robot, but then that means we've got to keep an eye on that Ford Field Alliance to see whose robot is maybe not up to par right now.
So what would be the rationale, do you think, Dan, in terms of taking all 3 of their robots? They're all gone. It's like they just drove off. What's the mindset there? Why not just take the one that needs work to get work done?
Yeah, they might be just preparing to kind of slow things down a little bit. If we actually look down by the side of the field, 35, 39, and 33, I believe, are both right there with their robots, which would sort of imply that 71, 78, the 3rd robot on that alliance that is working on their robot. So those 2 robots will be able to go on the field in plenty of time. It's an 8-minute timeout, so there's no reason to kind of rush onto the field until you're ready.
Okay, so it looks like they resolved the issue of generating a final score. So the score was apparently manually tabulated, which sounds reasonable.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. We have those counters going, those human counters going just as a check. We want to make sure that we get the score right, and this is the correct score. So we knew it wasn't going to be a 180 or 190, whatever it scaled up to. It is a 131 to 102 point victory for the DTE field.
And you look at the numbers, it's all about cargo points. What's more surprising, 94 or 66?
So those are both close to what they were doing. The 94 is actually up a little bit, so that's almost the best match I think we've seen from our DTE field champions. 102 is down a bit from the average score from Active, so a few issues there we're going to have to watch. We know they missed in auto. They missed a couple extra shots in auto. It was 7, I think, to 3 in auto mode, red versus blue, and that is where a lot of that difference was coming from.
Let's swing it downstairs and check in with Kaylee.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here with Adam. He's part of the Red Alliance. Adam, what's on your mind right now?
I'm feeling pretty good right now. We won that match, went well, it was pretty smooth. There's still some things we could improve and work on, but overall I think that went well.
What was the biggest challenge you think out of that match?
So since we're playing across the field, our driver station is on the opposite side of where our robot is. It's a little difficult to see what we're picking up and where we're shooting. So I think that was the biggest challenge, is just trying to figure out where we're at and what we're actually doing from across the field.
How do you guys think you're going to have to resolve that? Is that a different strategy, or is that moving around? What's that look like for you guys?
So on our driver stations, we have really long cables, so we are able to move around. And we also have a camera on our robot, so that does help us see a little bit. It's mostly just a lot of driver communication that we need to work on for the most part, and that's really it.
What do you think the key to winning that match was?
I think just keeping it smooth. We have a saying on our drive team, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And we try to maintain that through our matches to keep it steady.
All right, sounds good. Congratulations, Adam.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you. And yeah, the music is blaring here. So that means a timeout. And that was that's going to give us a little bit of a chance to reconnect with one of our corporate sponsors, specifically this one involving the Dreammaker Fund, as we get back together with Kaylee, who talked earlier with Patty Poppy.
Hey everyone, Patty Poppy for the CEO of PG&E and also from the Dreammakers Fund here with me. Patty, tell me how you're feeling today.
Oh, Kaylee, we're having a great time. There's nothing like the Michigan State Championships at First Robotics. So, yeah, we're having a great day.
Yeah, so you're from the Dreammakers Fund. Tell me a little bit about the fund, what it is, how you came up with it.
Yeah, the Dreammaker Fund was an idea my husband and I had a couple years ago. I was CEO of Consumers Energy here in Michigan. And, you know, we believe that to whom much is given, much is expected. And we have been blessed greatly. Our career success has been beyond our wildest imaginations. We're two kids from country towns. And so we started the Dreammaker Fund. And since we started it, we've donated over $3.5 million to the fund. And then today, we made a contribution of $450,000 to First Robotics.
Everyone was so excited when that check got presented. Everyone was on their feet. Tell me how you were feeling in that moment.
Oh, it was so sweet. I mean, we really, truly feel blessed. We can't imagine the kind of success we've had, but we know that our success is based on our engineering degrees. I'm an engineer, my husband's an engineer, and so kids who came from nothing to grow up and be in a position to make those kind of contributions to others, that's why we started the fund. Our dreams have come true. We want everybody else's dreams to come true too.
Very generous donation. I know everyone here appreciates that, and it's going to go a long way, hopefully. What do you want to tell these students right now as they're, going through this and trying to find their careers and all that?
Well, the cool thing about First Robotics, it is the only sport where everyone can go pro. I mean, the experience these kids are getting, being on the team. I have daughters. I have twin daughters who are both engineers, I'm proud to say. We did a good job on that. But it was because of their experience at First Robotics. They didn't have, they weren't really great athletes. Sorry, girls. But the athletics and team experience might have been a loss for them, except for First Robotics. They had a team experience. They had science and engineering experiences. So when they went to engineering school, they were ready. Yes. They had great college experiences, and now they're both working professional engineers. In fact, we're going tomorrow to my daughter's first home that she bought all by herself. She would not let us help her. She's 25 years old. She bought her first house. That's because she has economic opportunity and prosperity based on her STEM engineering background and career.
That is amazing.
Yeah, we're really proud of her.
What do you think are some of the strongest characteristics these students carry out of robotics into their careers?
I think they learn that anything is possible. They learn that they're smart enough. Sometimes the engineering seems intimidating, or science or math or IT seems like, well, maybe that's just for really smart kids. It's for anybody. You just have to be courageous to try, and First Robotics makes it fun to try. I mean, these kids are having a great time, and that's what their career will look like too. It's fun to solve problems. It's fun to win, and they're learning that here on their First Robotics teams.
Very good. I love that. Why did you guys decide to, give back to this and donate that money to First Robotics?
We watched the effect that our daughter's First Robotics experience had, both on them and then on their entire teams. And I think about how I grew up not knowing what was possible, and then I've seen what is possible because of good choices that I made, and I had good mentors along the way. We saw that First Robotics creates that environment, creates that ambition. It demystifies these technical careers, and we watched our two daughters thrive following their experience. We want that for everybody. The more the merrier, and I'm so proud of Michigan and how many teams there are here. And we've just moved to California, and so I've already started getting involved with California's first teams, but it's nothing like Michigan. Michigan is just off the charts. It's really, really good. We're really good out here, yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it, and thank you so much for being here all the way from California.
Yeah, thank you, Kaylee.
All right, thanks. Back to you guys.
All right, another successful story of the people that benefit and the people that give back, and when you give back, everyone benefits. All right, robots getting back into position as we are about a minute away from ending this timeout. What's your best guess on what the Blue Alliance was doing and working with their robots?
So what we heard, the word on the street, as it were, is that 7178 was having some CAN issues. So CAN stands for Common Area Network. And there's a computer on the robot. There are also a bunch of other electronic components that need to talk to the computer. And they talk over what we call CAN. Sorry, Control Area Network, sorry. I misspoke. But anyway, so they were not having some of their devices communicating appropriately with the main computer. And so they were kind of trying to track that issue down. And usually when you have that kind of issue, it might be software. You double check your wires. And it looks like they just needed a little bit of extra time to diagnose that. But they are out on the field now, and presumably everything is working.
Okay, so Red Alliance with Clarkston, Grand Blanc, and Trenton. And I think you said earlier it's the Clarkston robot that is the single dominant robot here.
Yeah, again, if they were, I think they were number 2 on the state rankings coming into this event. But if you probably polled 100 people at this event, the vast majority would say 27 is the favorite to win.
Why?
They've just been dominant at all of their events. Again, we talked a little bit about OPR earlier. OPR, again, a way for us to sort of calculate the value of each robot on an alliance. And theirs is like 20 points higher than the next best robot at this event. So they're just really standing out above and beyond in every category. They have a very good end game climb. It's been consistent. They hit it almost every time. Their auto mode is one of the, if not the best auto modes at the state. And they're very, very fast at collecting balls and scoring them. But, you know, that said, all of the robots on the field are very, very good at this point. We were so deep into this tournament. And, you know, it doesn't take much to overcome that deficit.
And if you get a Blue Alliance robot that can just sell out and play hardcore defense, who knows?
Exactly, and we're going to keep an eye on 7178. This robot is capable of shooting, but might take a defensive role on Team 27. Your other option, too, is 2337, which is another very good offensive robot, but I think from watching this event is a little bit more susceptible to defense. So maybe you defend the second best guy and say, okay, the number 1 shooter is going to beat us. Risky, that's probably risky, but you know that is an option for them.
The 7178 robot, the Yeti from Walled Lake, Western High School, that's the big question mark. I think connectivity is still a concern for them. So,
yeah, we did have, again, a field tech out there checking their robot, now hanging out with them in their driver station, checking out on that end.
On the Blue Alliance, we have team 7178.
So hopefully they can figure out what it is, and we have all 6 robots fully functional in this match.
Well, we see a lot of lights, but that does not necessarily translate into 100% connectivity.
Yeah, and there is one light that's still flashing, so this is a kind of a different issue. So the light that's flashing right now is the connection to the field light. You can kind of see that there's a stack light next to each sign, that one right there. When that's flashing, that means they have not yet connected to the field. It'll turn off when they're connected to the field, and then when the match starts, it should be solid on. So if that's ever flashing, that means that robot has disconnected, or not yet connected in the case of 7178 here.
So the guy there with the FTA shirt, field technician.
Yep, first technical advisor.
Okay, well.
That's Jacob. Yeah, first technical advisor, field technical advisor. Whichever way you want to go, but that's Jacob. He is one of the lead FTAs in the state of Michigan, so he's kind of like in charge of making sure all of the FTAs here in the state get trained. He's got a lot of experience doing this, and he also works at a company called Cross the Road Electronics, which is responsible for some of the control system components. So this guy knows what's up. If it can be fixed, he's going to fix it.
And the kids, you can just see the kids like sponging watching him. What do you get a sense they learned from watching him right now?
Yeah, and this is one of the things that the FTAs here in Michigan try to do. And I assume it's the rest of the country as well, but it's one of our main focuses is he's not just going to kind of shove the kids out of the way and do the things on the computer to make it work. He's usually saying, this is what we're going to try, does it on the computer. That way the drive team can understand, okay, this might be an issue with our firewall. This might be an issue with, needing to reboot the radio on the robot. And by being a part of that troubleshooting process, it sort of just furthers what they've already been doing all season, which is building and troubleshooting a robot, and gives them some kind of professional insight to how, you know, they would troubleshoot these issues.
So basically, it's a great teaching moment for that team, albeit a little anxiety producing because of knowing what's in store once they get that robot fixed. Ooh. Oh.
That looks scary,
I'm not an FTA, but I can see that warning and error are not good signs.
Subsystem manager dot run. Okay, all right. You know what? That actually is not worrying. Those errors are popping up because it's not connected to the robot. So if those errors persist after they get it connected, we'll be worried about it.
And it's not flashing.
There we go. Yeah. So they. Oh, that's actually weird though. I think we saw from that shot that it was showing connected on the driver station, but the field doesn't think the robot's connected. And that's probably why we're having some issues here. It is possible that they will end up having to restart the whole field and reconnect all of the robots, so that's something to look out for. They're going to work their way through kind of the progression of troubleshooting steps here.
So that means shut everyone down?
Yeah, so
Like
what
a
we can
total
do is,
reboot?
yeah, we can essentially reboot the field. And usually that goes pretty quick, but then takes the robots about a minute to reconnect. But it looks like they've got it connected. Nope, still not connected.
No.
Another possibility is if they're showing up with no robot code, that could be causing this. And one of the weird things is, you know, if you don't have robot code but they didn't change anything, you know, the question is, how does something like that happen? And so they're going to try to track that down too. Yeah, we got some reinforcements here that in the black shirt with the CTR on the back is Omar, one of the co-founders across the road electronics. So Jacob's boss at work, another expert on the control system, is over there to help out, along with a couple of other FTAs. So if it can be solved, I think they're going to solve it.
Well, the fact that you seem to be on a first-name basis with pretty much anybody that walks into the camera's vision is probably very good for your credibility.
Or, I mean, who knows? I could be making up names.
Right. As long as they don't wave you down there to help. We need you more up here.
Yeah, there's several more steps before I'll get called down there.
Yeah. Maybe the driver's station error.
Yeah, you can tell they've got another laptop out there, and that will typically mean that they're going to try a loaner driver station. That's the laptop that runs the driver station software. So they're swapping to it, but before they just say, okay, it looks good now and we're moving on, what they're going to do is they're going to have the team just verify that all their stuff is working, right? So they have custom dashboards. It's like a heads-up display down there. They got to make sure their game pads are plugged in the correct ports, and so they're going to just make sure all of that stuff is done correctly before we move on to the next step, because if you give a team a laptop and it doesn't work, now you've got a problem because you're kind of at fault. But it does seem like there might be something with the network on that laptop, right? Which is why we saw the laptop thought it was connected, but the field didn't think it was connected. As soon as they swap the laptop over, we do see, you know, a green light at the center of our field, which means all of the robots now are connected. You can see that stack light is no longer blinking above the driver station there. So they should be connected. They should be ready to go for this match.
Let's head downstairs with Kaylee.
Hey guys, yeah, everyone down here getting a little anxious of what's happening. People down here trying to assess. I can tell the rest of Alliance is kind of getting anxious as well, especially 7178. Just kind of trying to figure out what happened. I can tell everyone's just trying to keep a level head right now, not get a little too caught up in what's happening, but just trying to work as fast as they can to try to get this figured out. But we're going to stay down here and see what we can figure out for now. They're really not saying much more, of just trying to work as fast as they can. Not really talking to each other, actually, but we're going to stay down here and figure out what we can. I'm going to send it back up to you guys for now.
Thanks, Kaylee. Good insight from down there. But the challenge is, you know, this is not a, I mean, you'd rather have this issue than you would have the issue with, hey, I can't get my robot to function once the whistle blows and we're playing, or I got a damaged part on my machine that I don't know if it's going to hold up.
This is nerve-wracking, but we do expect a fully functional robot when all is said and done.
Right. So we got to hang in, and the backup computer is, I think, rebooting, or
it's looking good. Looks like everything is connected. We saw a little blip on that stack light, which was scary. So we'll keep an eye on them, but it looks like everything is going to work.
And away we go. We'll see if it all adds up as we see a Red Alliance miss, Blue Alliance with some good makes. And the autonomous period is looking pretty good for both of these alliances.
It looked like a bounce out for both sides, but then a late miss by 33, kind of shooting off into the corner of the field. Gives Red that 1-ball lead, or 4 points.
So teleop underway now. Blue Alliance with a couple of makes, and Red Alliance with a consecutive about, looks like 5 or 6 balls going down there. Really, you want your ball to be going down when there's other balls in the bottom of that cylinder, right? Because then you don't get that bounce.
Yeah, they can kind of help, but you got to be careful, because if you hit them on the way in, it could cause it to bounce out. So we do see, it looks like Red is going 3 robots on offense. We did not expect this from them, but 5090 has been shooting, and 7178 has been trying to play defense, trying to shut down that 27 robot. Ooh, they are very close to a penalty there, but they kept it clean. Wow, they were inches away from a penalty.
What penalty would that have been?
So you're protected. If you're back against that truss where your color panels are, you can't be defended. And they got within an inch of hitting them when they were in that spot. Blue is closing the gap here. They actually, I think, are going to be ahead by, oh, nope. Red came right back, Blue came right back.
Score's awfully close here as we close in on the 1-minute mark. In this, our second semifinal match.
Yep, so who can shoot longer and push their hang later is what we might be seeing. Good defense there, caused a missed shot by Red. 71-78 hitting somebody right as they tried to release. 33 coming back.
Each make with your cargo and the upper hub is going to be critical. This one is going to go right down to the wire. The hang will be meaningful, but all of these cargos getting in that upper hub are critical.
It's ball for ball, a miss for Blue, a miss for Red, so it's 2 points. It's even. It's 2 points. It's even.
Yeah, they're trying to squeeze as much as they can. They're going to forego the hang, it looks like, or at least
they've got to still get their hangs.
Yeah,
they're just pushing it as late as possible.
Right.
So Red with the advantage going into endgame.
Blue Alliance, though, they've got that one robot sitting on the outside. The other 2 are well hugged.
Engineers goes down. 23-37 falls off the bar. That means this is Blue's match, as long as they execute the rest of their hangs, and I believe they do. So 7-point lead for Red going into endgame, but 1 extra traversal hang is 15 points, although 35-39 also on the ground now. I saw them up in the air briefly, but again, if you're touching the ground before 5 seconds passes after the match ends, you don't get credit for that. So this could be, oh, actually 27 is still on the high bar, not even on the traversal bar. So Red is looking at 10 points plus 4, 14 points for Red.
Let's get some defense first. This is the potential violation
so Red,
you were suggesting.
See how they're touching that panel? If Red is touching that panel and Blue touches them, it's a penalty. Well, look at that. They held their position. They didn't freak out. They kept calm, and no penalty. And that's extremely important. Now we got to watch. This is 23-37. What happened here? They were going to make the transition, and they just over-rotated. Just the weight on their robot got into a bad spot. They over-rotated and hit the ground. And again, that's, I don't think we're going to see too much damage. It doesn't look like anything broke off. That second hook, you see that hook on our side, the low side of the field wasn't extending up, but that wasn't even the problem. They were just swinging too hard, and they just rolled right off that bar. Meanwhile, Blue with 2 traversals, I mean, that's going to be enough. It was 30 points for Blue in the endgame at least, depending on whether 35-39 was up in the air, and only 14 points for Red.
Red Alliance had a slight point lead before the hang. Now it looks like the Blue Alliance will come ahead with more points in the final segment in the hanger zone. And that will be where this second semifinal match turns in favor of the Blue Alliance. We'll tally up the scores, but You heard the group here get all revved up.
And so the question is, we'll see when we get our scoring graphic. We'll see, here it is. So again, it is a 108-117 victory. If the Engine Nerds had made it all the way up for the 15-point traversal hang, they would have won that match. In fact, if the Engine Nerds had just stayed on the high bar for 10 points, which they actually skip over, they couldn't have done, that would have also been enough. If they were up on the 6-point bar and Rush 27 had finished their traversal climb, that would have been enough. So they had all kinds of options in the end game to secure that victory, thanks to the 7-point lead in cargo going into it. But falling off the bar, unfortunate for 23-37.
All those cargo points. The hanger is the difference. Let's go down and get some perspective on the winners of the Blue Alliance. Here's Kaylee.
Yeah, hey Dan, I'm here with Michael from Team 33. I mean, obviously a very, very close game. You guys were tied at 80 at one point. What was going through your mind to try to push through that?
So part of that was actually started really before the match actually began. It was a focus on our strategy, overall strategy. So we kind of went with a 2 robots on offense, 1 robot on defense, and we kind of looked at past match data to figure out which robot to defend against would have the greatest impact on the score. So we did just that. Every robot basically just did what we were doing for the whole competition, is just focus on scoring, doing our stuff, trying not to draw penalties. So that includes kind of, zoning out the field. So some robots stay on the left side, some robots stay on the right side. On 33, we're pretty capable to play both deep and left and right, especially on the close side. So if the opportunity presents itself, we'll go and grab a ball if we see it, and we'll fire as quickly as we can. So that's kind of just, the goal is just doing our stuff, and as long as we do that, it looks like our strategy did work for this first match, and we'll keep working to make sure that we'll prevail in the second match as well.
It came down to the hang, really, and if Red's robot hadn't followed, we might be having a different conversation here. What needs to change for the next match to make sure that you guys have it locked in?
So one of the things is we're going to try to tweak our autonomous a bit. There's a lot of points in autonomous compared to, say, teleop. Not relatively overall, but individual balls are worth 4 points in the high goal in autonomous versus 2 points in teleop. And each one of those balls missed, is really a big loss. We actually missed 2 of them there, but we've been consistent throughout the tournament, and we'll keep on working to make sure we hit those balls, and that will close the gap, especially since we cannot rely on other teams falling on their clients. We have to expect that teams will perform at their very best.
All right, well, congratulations on the win, Michael. I appreciate your time, and we're going to send it back up to you, Dan and Dan.
Yeah, Kaylee, good questions from her, because you don't want to get a sense of false confidence if you're the Blue Alliance. You can't count on a mistake to get you a win. You got to win it on your own terms, and that was a little too close for comfort for them.
33, a veteran team. They've been here before. They will work on that auto mode, and that was kind of the difference. Actually, the auto mode difference was the cargo difference.
So we are back to this third semifinal match. A Red Alliance win here will bump them into the finals. So pressure on the Blue Alliance. We'll see how things play out. So far, so good in the autonomous for both of these alliances.
See, Blue actually shot a ball in and knocked another blue ball out. And that's going to be a small edge for Red after autonomous. 4 points.
Look at some defense on that Blue Alliance.
27-67,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Are they playing defense? That is the top offensive robot on this alliance. So them choosing to play defense is unexpected, to say the least. 503 is now going it alone offensively for the Blue Alliance, with double defense, 1 defender on 35-38 and 1 defender on 54-60. So now 33-22 has got to carry the bulk of the scoring for the Red Alliance here.
Yeah, not seeing a lot of blue cargo balls being shot into that upper hub.
Yeah, it's just 503 now is stuck. They're not moving. I think they're trying to get that ball cleared, so that delay didn't help. And this isn't working. The Blue Alliance is falling farther and farther behind. The longer they play defense, the worse the score is getting. So is something wrong with 27-67's robot? Or again, is this an active choice? And if this is an active strategy choice, I think you gotta abandon ship. You gotta start scoring.
Yeah, time is wasting, and they are going to be on the ropes here fairly soon. That's about a 25-point swing.
Yeah. You can't make that up in endgame. So it's weird because we didn't have a timeout called. So I'd be surprised if the robot was damaged and we didn't have a timeout. But
Red Alliance can really put a stranglehold on this now. Every cargo shot going up to that upper hub is going to just further put them in a stronger position.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the defense being played by the two blue robots is very good, but you're just not scoring enough. 503 alone on offense is not keeping up with 33-22 undefended and what's getting through the defense.
We move to the end game. 2 Red Alliance robots hanging already. Blue Alliance, they've got to have everybody up in the air. So, maximum points have to come right now.
Unless there's disaster on the red side, Red has got this match. And we see 5460 stopping on the high bar, not going to the traversal bar. We still haven't seen a traversal bar from this robot since they broke. But in this match, I agree with that call. They had more than enough points. Don't risk it going for something, where you could break and fall off and have problems later. So they stopped where they were comfortable, and it should be more than enough to secure this match.
So a strategical change that maybe doesn't pay off at a time that you really needed to hit a home run, so to speak. Here's how it looks in autonomous.
Yep, good auto modes from both sides. One unlucky bounce out from each one, and then, we kind of end up with the last second shots here from blue. We get that one bounce out. You saw that one ball goes in and bounces the other one out. That was the difference in autonomous mode. But basically a neck-and-neck match, and then we see 27-67 just going straight after 54-60. And they did a really good job of playing defense, as did 56-12 here. But at some point, they needed to get a few more shots off, and I don't know if there was an issue with their robot or if that was all a strategy call.
Here's the hang. Blue Alliance, at this point, really couldn't do much. Red Alliance, again, took control with when the Blue Alliance decided to go heavy on defense. And unfortunately, going heavy on defense wasn't heavy enough to stop the Red Alliance. They've posted the final scores internally, so we'll put them up as soon as our graphic is ready. And here we go. A Red Alliance win means they are in the finals.
Yep, interesting. 102 is the same score. So they got the same score when they were playing with 2 robots on offense and 1 robot on offense. So I guess maybe that makes sense then. They thought they just could not match the 3 shooting robots from the Red Alliance, the GTE Foundation field winners, and went to defense. They did shrink the score a little bit. So the first match was 131 to 102. This one 123 to 102. So they did get the margin of victory down a little bit. But ultimately, I think once you fall behind by 20 or so points, you can't overcome that with defense, right? You have to at some point start scoring, or the match is just going to get out of hands.
Red Alliance moving on. Let's find out how it happened. Here's Kaylee.
Lily from 5460, part of the Red Alliance, finals bound. What are you thinking right now?
I'm very, very excited for our team. We've gotten this far, and it's been 2019 since we've actually been here again, so that's really exciting. And it's with the Robo Jackets again, so we're all quite excited.
Tell me about your guys' alliance, the strength that you guys have.
I think it's perseverance. We've pulled the climber out once already at Troy, so we're not too worried about it. We fixed it. It's good. We're just kind of going through the motions, hoping that we can get where we want to get.
You guys haven't had an easy road here. Tell me about some of the obstacles you guys have had to overcome.
Just this weekend on Thursday, every possible issue that could have happened, and it was one after another, and it seemed like it would never end. And then Friday came, and we pushed through it all, and we started moving up in the ranks, and we got where we wanted, and we got the alliance that we wanted, and we're in finals right now.
So finals, Lily. What would you tell Thursday, Lily?
It gets better, because a lot of us were very emotionally frustrated. We're sitting on the ground going, what is happening right now? Nothing's working. The shooter's not working. It's not doing what we want it to do. It definitely gets better.
That perseverance, like you said before, that's where that comes in. All right, well, thank you for your time, Lily. I appreciate it, and good luck in finals. All right, back to you, Dan and Dan.
All right, we have one finalist already in the field. Now we're waiting to see the 4th semifinal match, which could put the Blue Alliance from Novi High School, Kalamazoo County, and Bentley High School.
Yep, our Ford Field winners are up 1-0 here. First match was very close, though.
Right.
117 to 108. And we do have a timeout from the Consumers Alliance. And that is the alliance where, remember, we saw 2337 falling off the, I guess, on transition to the traversal bar. We saw them falling off the hanging bars. They landed kind of hard, so that might be, you know, the reason for the timeout. We can see kind of across the whole arena, they do have a decent number of people around their robot, but at the same time, so does, I want to say that's 7178, or sorry, 5090 over there. There's a lot of people around 5090 as well. So both of those, 2337 and 5090 from that Consumers Energy Alliance, and either one could be the cause for the timeout.
Let's get some more insight from the pits as we reconnect with Kaylee.
Bob Nichols here, the director of the First Robotics Community Center at Kettering University, here with me. Bob, how you doing today? How excited are you?
It's very exciting. It's so great to be back here.
Yes, it's been a while. So tell me about what Kettering University does with First Robotics.
Well, we have a First Robotics Community Center in Flint where we house 9 community teams, and we opened that in September of 2014. And so we've been building, and it's really a great recruiting tool for Kettering. However, it's also a community service to the teams there who don't have the means to have a machine shop or a lab for design and programming. So we provide all that free of charge to the teams.
Why do that? Why have that available?
Well, because it's proven that First Robotics is a great recruiting tool for Kettering, but at Kettering, every student there works for a company. And all these companies that are here, they hire our co-op students. So First prepares those students really well to get ready for college, and we want those students at Kettering, quite frankly.
Yeah. What else does Kettering University do with First Robotics?
Well, I host 3 events a year, 2 districts in a row in March. I also host an off-season event, which I've done for 23 years. Very popular Kettering Kickoff in the fall. We host FTC and FLL competitions as well.
Very good. So I heard you guys kind of have a fair going on here. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, Gail Albert from First in Michigan, she came to us and asked us if we would partner with her to put on a co-op fair here. And so this is the first year we've done that here, and it was phenomenally successful, quite frankly. We had over 300 students come into the fair over the last 2 days. And the whole purpose of this really is to get the students ready for their careers coming up. And so we had we had 20 companies here interviewing these kids, and some of them were very nervous, but we made these business cards for the students so they could hand the business card to the employer. And so we had all the companies that are here, Consumers, Ford, General Motors, Stellantis, and so on, were there interviewing. And they got a peek at some of the new kids coming up that they could hire down the road.
That's amazing. Great networking opportunity.
It really is.
Yeah.
And for the students, you know, it's the first time a lot of them have ever had to do a resume or tried to do a resume. So we did some resume advice for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was very successful.
That's amazing. Well, thanks for putting that on, and thanks for giving these kids a chance to network with all these big companies. I think that's
Awesome.
amazing.
Thank
Thank you for your time, Bob, and we're going to send it back to you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Here we move into our 4th semifinal. And, well, this is an opportunity for the Blue Alliance. Again, it was close. I mean, you know, won at 17-108. Red Alliance, you know, the challenge is, you know, you lost, but you don't really have to change a whole lot.
Yeah, as long as they can get those robots fixed, both of the robots, again, it still looks like they're both being worked on. As long as they come out and they're working, you know, you had the advantage going into endgame. 2337 has been very reliable at that traversal climb. So it was sort of a surprise that they fell, a very big surprise. So you don't expect that to happen again if the robot's fixed. And that means, you know, it's actually not our Red Alliance from Consumers that has to be looking to make adjustments, but the Blue Alliance from Ford. And we heard a little bit about that, right? So 33 is going to tweak their auto mode a little bit. They missed 2 shots in auto. They hit those 2 shots. That's 8 points. And that actually gives them a 1-point edge in cargo. So now all of a sudden, you can tie the end game and win. And that's what we have to really, really watch for from the Blue Alliance.
Let's take a look at that fall that was so visually powerful, but we're hoping it didn't make any long-term damage. But boy,
Wow.
it's amazing to think that that machine could fall in that way and not really sustain something meaningful.
Yeah, still hard to tell what happened. I think on the left-hand side, I think there's an orange stick that needs to go on top of that high bar. It went underneath instead, and that sort of twisted them off the bottom bar a little bit. But that's a very experienced team. They've got a lot of people that can fix that robot quickly.
So the Blue Alliance, there's only about 20 seconds left in our timeout. So
yeah, I mean, we see both of them now heading over towards the field. So they're both in queue, kind of waiting for their turn at the gate. So at this point, either it's fixed or it's not fixed, but they are taking the field.
yeah, they've burned their timeout. So
Yep, every alliance is only allowed 1 timeout for the entire playoffs here. So that they don't get another chance. If something breaks in this match, they have no way to extend their time. Now, there's always a field timeout if you'd be going in back-to-back matches. So if they were to, well, I guess they would have to win this match to force a 3rd match. And if something broke while they were winning this match, they would get a shorter field timeout in order to get ready for the last match.
you know, we're always looking for what's new every year. I have to say that the kids with the fat heads, that's not uncommon for a sporting event. It is uncommon for robotics.
Yep.
That's new. Awesome. Congratulations. As robotics just takes another step towards, being a sport that deserves more exposure.
Yeah, we got it all. We got mascots, we got chants.
Right.
And apparently now we have giant heads.
Well done, guys. Well done. And girls. Yeah.
So you can see, again, loading up, 71-78, loading up that 1 ball. They can shoot that at the beginning of the match for those auto points. Before we expect them to shift over to defense. At least they did in the first match.
There's the red team. Trenton, Grand Blanc, and Clarkston. All in southeast Michigan. Clarkston and Grand Blanc are practically neighbors.
They are, yep.
Geographically.
And we've got a good view of, that's the 2337 driver station there. And they actually have, that's a monitor that's sticking up, bordered in red there. And that will actually have the robot's vision. So there's a camera on the robot that's going to be streaming that back to the drivers. And you can also see there is a targeting reticule, so they can use that to assist themselves in aiming as well. So that way the driver doesn't have to look down. They raised it up to the kind of the eye level of their driver. And that's what we know about 2337 is there are small things you can do to give you an advantage, and they will put in the work, the effort to get those small advantages.
Notre Dame Prep, Romeo, and Walled Lake Western.
35-39 has a state championship. 33 has a state championship in the past. 71-78, though, this would be their first.
Does that state championship in seedings, how impactful is that when these teams decide to come together?
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is these 3 teams, these alliances, when they're formed.
Oh, I see.
Are you looking at the reputation of the school in what they've done previously, or are you just saying, hey, in this year, this machine looks great? It's kind of hard to answer the question.
Every team does it a little bit differently, but sort of the standard is the data is the first sort. So if a team is scoring 6 more balls based on your data than another team, you're picking that team. If they're close, if they're plus or minus a ball or 2, then it moves on to these other things, which is like, do we know their coach? How's their drive team done under pressure? Have we worked with them in the past? And then all those things are sort of your tiebreakers when you have teams that are close together.
Yeah, because some of those other things you're talking about, the team leadership, poise under pressure, things like that, that's not a metric you can really.
Right.
That's not a metric.
Yep.
So that does figure in sometimes.
Yeah, another thing that you'll look at too is reliability too. So has this robot broken in this event? And sometimes you pick the unreliable robot because they have the higher top end. So if you're like a lower seed and you need to pull an upset, well, if you pick the robot that was broken half the time but was amazing the other half, right, you're sort of flipping a coin. Are you going to get the great robot or the bad robot? But if you're the number 1 seed, you sort of just want consistent goodness to go along with you.
I think your guy Jason, I hope I got his name right. Jacob, okay, close. It's sad when I get on a first-name basis with the FTAs. It means there's another issue.
We'll invite you to the
switching
dinner.
out. You'll do what?
We'll invite you to the dinner.
Oh, well, let's see if we can get everything back on track. And
I think that was the same issue as before. I think they tried to use their driver station, and now they're switching back to the backup one. And again, if it was like some weird networking bug, restarting the computer should have fixed it. So there was reason for them to be optimistic coming back out. But it did not seem to affect them last match when they used the loaner one. So hopefully one way or another, they're going to have a fully functional robot again.
And I can't, all right, that's flashing blue. If you go down on the field, I can't see what robot that is, but there's 2 people working on.
That is 7178.
Okay, that's the same. So that's the same thing.
Yep.
Okay.
They're sort of watching the problem from both sides.
Okay.
There are diagnostic lights or indicators that we can get on the robot side that we can't get on the driver station side. Also, if you need to reboot the robot or unplug and plug a component back in, you want to have somebody there just to make it as fast as possible. To
What about,
get
does the color of those lights mean anything?
I don't know on this robot specifically. Right now, they're obviously in party mode. They just look cool. But teams will use those lights to indicate, like, you are aimed at the goal, right? You're good to shoot.
Right.
So they'll change a certain color if that's the case. Sometimes they'll change a different color if a ball is in front of the robot.
All right. Let's go down in the pits and get some eyes right on the situation with Kaylee.
Hey, Dan and Dan, yeah, down here again with 71-78. Seem to be having some problems again, just trying to figure out what is going on. We got FTA over here trying to work as fast as they can. And just again, they did have problems last match with their computer. It seems like they switched over to their backup computer. Not sure if they're having problems now with the backup computer or they switched over again. We're trying to figure that out, but not too clear right now. No one's really saying much. We're going to try to talk to 71-78 after all this is fixed and find out exactly what happened. But for now, I'll send it back up.
All right, thanks, Kaylee.
Looked like we were seeing similar stuff, although one of the FTAs just took off jogging way across the arena, so he is looking for some missing component. It might be some of the laptops don't have enough USB ports, so it might be a USB adapter, a USB hub, or that could be the power cord for this computer. Yeah, that looks like a power adapter. So the computer's probably about to die on them.
We should mention him by name too, since I'm sure that's somebody you know well. Anyway,
definitely in a race there to get that plugged in before the power turns off.
A sprinting FTA is usually not a good sign, right?
It is typically not. No, but in this case, I think it was okay.
Yeah.
And that's Josh, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. We love your hustle. Oh boy. Yeah.
All right, so that means this laptop is probably working. They're just doing, again, making sure the controls are set up, making sure their dashboard is working, their kind of display of stuff from the robot. You can kind of read in sensors from that. You can set auto modes. You can pick different auto modes from there. And that might have the camera feed that we saw earlier when we were looking at the external monitor of 2337.
Blue lights off, so that's a +1. How much more time will they allow them? I mean, what?
So because of what the problem is, there's sort of a wide latitude on it. If your robot's broken, you get less latitude, but they're ready to go. We got the thumbs up, so we should be set here.
Again, a Blue Alliance win puts them into the finals. See how Red Alliance does in autonomous. Kind of a slow start for Blue. Now they start to catch up, but not all the way. Red Alliance will get out of autonomous with a double-digit lead.
Bees missed the shot, 33 missed the shot, and had one ball stuck in their robot. So that's sort of the same problems we saw in match 1, manifesting themselves again here in match 2.
Again, the margin of victory was very slim for the Blue Alliance last time around, so Red Alliance is not really discouraged, I don't think, and they've got a 10-point lead still.
Yep, a little bit of a quick start for Red as well here in Teliop. I think it was 7 balls for Red, 4 for Blue in auto mode. That's a 12-point difference. And that kind of is the lead we're seeing on the scoreboard as they go ball for ball here in teleoperated. There's a Blue penalty.
Still a 10-point lead for Red Alliance, but they can't build on that lead. Blue Alliance continues to get some points. 71-78 robot is not really a factor right now. Not playing defense and not picking up a ball.
The way that robot is driving, there is a problem, right? There is a drivetrain problem there. That could be related to the CAN issues we heard about earlier. It could be unrelated, we don't know, but the most likely cause here is CAN issues. And they're basically playing 2-on-3, but they're hanging right in there.
Yeah, there's still not a big separation by Red Alliance, so that when they go to the hanger zone, it might be very critical for Blue to max out on points there.
Yeah, one of the issues is, though, if 71-78 can't get to the hanging bar for their 6 points, that's going to be another, differential that I don't think the Blue Alliance can handle right now, although they're closing the gap.
Boy, they are neck and neck. Whistle is blown. We're inside 30 seconds. Let's see who squeezes out some more cargo points. Red Alliance did. They've got 2 of their robots ready to hang. Blue Alliance, and you can see the 71-78 is just all over the place.
23-37 is up. 27 is up, so they fixed their issues. Even if Blue goes double traversal here, without the 3rd robot hanging at all, that is probably going to bring us back to 1-1.
Oh boy, so close.
And so red advantage in Teliop, red advantage in the hanging at the end game.
And we're looking at it now. It's 110-106 Red Alliance before the hang. They got 106 points with 2 robots basically.
Yep. And that's, so Red is going to add a little bit more. I think Red wins by 6 more points than that once you count all the hangs. 30 for Blue, 36 for Red. But now it's sort of weird. It's like the good news for Blue is we just went toe-to-toe with them 2-on-3. Whereas before, it was like we fell off the bar or we would have won that match. So the losing alliance in both of these semifinal matches has something to look forward to.
So if it is a Red Alliance win, that's going to force a winner-take-all scenario. Here's the struggles with the 71-76 robot from Walled Lake Western.
Just not really able to drive the way that they have been driving. So they didn't shoot in auto mode either. That's another 4 points they left on the table. And 0 defense from this robot is not acceptable in this matchup. So they've got to get whatever that issue is, they've got to get it fixed, and they've got to come out swinging for the last semifinal match.
So let's get to some of the hanging. Again, the important factor in this picture, there's only 2 robots hanging, not 3.
Yep. Yeah, and that's, again, they couldn't even drive over to grab onto the low bar there. But again, we see good things from 33 and 35-39, getting the traversal climbs, kind of no problem. And the other good news for them is they were able to go later. 33 was the last robot to break off shooting and go for the traversal climb, and still made it comfortably.
Here's our final numbers, 146-136, a Red Alliance win, not by much. Again, the good news, bad news. Good news, 136 with 2 robots. Bad news is we really need 3.
Yep, so if that other robot was there, 71-78 was functional at the end, they're going to hang for 6 points. That would make this a 142-146 match, and if they shot their ball in auto and made it, that would have made it a 146-146 match before you even account for their defense. There was a 4-point penalty helping out the Blue Alliance a little bit, but that and the 2 missed auto mode shots by 33 are the differences here. So there are things that this Blue Alliance can fix and can fix quickly. and come out and be right in it for the next match. And 136 points with a dead robot, well, not a dead robot, but a non-functional robot, is a great score.
And Kaylee Marentate is telling us that Ford is bringing in a backup robot to offset whatever's wrong with 71-78. So that's kind of a must-happen thing. Good intel from Kaylee. Let's go back down to her and get more information from the pits.
Hey guys, Kelly here from 71-78. Kelly, tell me what's going on right now with the robot.
Well, at first, in one of our previous matches, we got one of our CAN wires knocked and we had to resolder some of the wires, and that fixed it for a bit, but we're still having issues making sure those connections are together. That's why our robot, you could see it kind of spinning on one wheel, and we hope to be able to fix that within the next few minutes, if all goes well.
Sure. Are you guys bringing a backup robot bot in, or no? What's going on with that?
I'm not entirely sure. If we can't get the robot working again, they may bring in another one, which will be really disappointing. But if it lets our alliance win, then that's what should be done.
What was going through your mind? It's been a little tense both times. What's going through your mind?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's very stressful.
We didn't expect to be here, and making it this far already is amazing, but my heart's dropping and our robot not working. So, but we're in the finals, which is insane. So, sorry.
You guys it's okay. You guys have come a long way, and no matter what happens, I know everyone here is proud of you. So no matter what, just keep your head up, and let's hope your alliance can get a win, all right? All right. Thanks, Kelly. Back to you guys.
All right, Kelly, thanks. Yeah, hope she hangs in. It's a rough ride, and, you think people aren't emotionally invested. Well, they certainly are.
That's very tough. I mean, looks like we will have a backup robot called. I'm seeing 87-28 is going to replace 71-78. And, that is a downgrade for this alliance. 87-28, though, can shoot high. They can hang. They can't traversal hang. And if you look at that OPR number that we talked about a few times, they're going from 37 OPR with 71-78 down to about a 20 OPR with 87-28. But the most important thing is, can they play defense? And we've definitely seen 87-28 playing some good defense.
Let's connect with Kaylee, who's got an interview from earlier today with one of our corporate sponsors.
I have been absolutely blown away at seeing all of the cooperation, all of the teamwork, all of the coming together as a community that's happening to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this season. This is my first year being part of robotics, so knowing that I will benefit at the end of the day is really important to me.
Innovation and creativity are really important skills that I've learned in FIRST Robotics that'll help me in my future, because it allows me to think critically about new projects, and I can take them head on without fear, as well as an open mind, willing to learn a ton of new things to complete the goal. Innovation allows me to think for the future and think ahead. Creativity allows us to think about those things in different ways and exploring multiple ways to get to a solution.
The two biggest things that I've learned here from FIRST would be teamwork and leadership. When you're on a team, well, you have to work together, right? And you have to learn how to take other people's ideas with yours and put your personal preference aside and put the team first. That's really hopeful in the future, because, well, you're going to be working in a team forever,
From my experience with FIRST Robotics, I've definitely learned how to identify problems and then not be deterred by them at all, and to really want to solve them, challenge myself to solve it better than I could before, so I can walk away with how to solve it again better the next time.
Just to see the work and the things that happen with the young people and the positive impact it has, not only from a STEM perspective, but also from a collaboration perspective, from a sharing and partnership perspective. They're just all win-wins. The skills are the kinds of things that really allow them to grow and be able to contribute in ways that we might not imagine right now, they may not imagine right now, but they'll be needed.
I think climate change is the most complicated problem we're facing as a society right now. And I think the ability to learn and adapt to change and to solve problems that I've learned from FIRST will definitely help me and help others
thinking about new ways to work with renewables, as well as incorporating them into the technology that we have now to make something even better, not just for us, but for generations to come. The main goal of innovation is to continue it.
Eventually, all of these kids, they're going to be execs at all of the top companies, figuring out how do we solve the answer to the world's toughest problems.
So one of the young men in that interview package had a title of fabrication captain.
Uh-huh.
Why don't you tell us what that is?
Teams are all different, so every team is run a different way. But in this case, right, it seems like his job is he is in charge of making sure the pieces get made for the robot and they get assembled correctly.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll have a programming captain. You might have a design captain. You could have a strategy captain or a scouting captain, even outreach or website, business plan. We got all kinds of ways you can contribute to a team.
Everyone's got their hands in the pie in some way.
Yep.
Right. All right, we're still in a timeout, and we have a new robot coming in, the 8728, and you said that robot is a little more offense than defense?
It's more defense. It's definitely a step down offensively. So we'll see if they can bring the defense, though. That's all we needed.
Let's jump back in the pits and reconnect with Kaylee.
With Emily, part of the Red Alliance. Tell me, feeling a little relieved?
Kind of like a mix of emotions, I guess. Like the first match didn't go quite how we were hoping, and like when we're going into like our second match, it's still the same mindset of like focusing on one ball at a time, one match at a time. So like I guess in my head, I kind of like go back to like when we're practicing like on our field back at like our workspace, where it's like we're just like cycling balls, and like that's the only thing that's really, I guess, like within our control. So it's like focusing on the things that you can control and not the things that went wrong from the previous match.
All right, well, good luck with this, and I appreciate your time. I know you got to be back there, so good luck. All right, back to you guys.
Thanks, Kaylee. She's all smiles. And the 8728 robot that's new, coming from Troy Athens High School. We were there 2 weekends ago. So good job getting intel on a robot that we didn't necessarily expect to see.
Yeah.
Now, so when the Blue Alliance is looking to replace that robot, it's not like anybody's just sitting around here waiting.
They are actually.
Okay.
Is how it works.
Well,
The highest seeded, unpicked team is your backup bot for your field. And so these guys, I actually was hanging out with them a little bit during the lunch break, talking to them because I know a few of these guys too. It's interesting. You can see him on the left of the screen there with the button and the glasses up top. He was a human player on 3539 when he was a student in high school. So now he's mentoring 8728, and they are coming in to join his former team as their third robot. And they were saying, hey, look, we don't expect to play, but we're here, we'll be ready, and we're going to see them prove it.
Well, that's exciting because basically you're expecting to do nothing, and now you're going to be in the playing field in the heat of competition. So
yeah, it's sort of like a tough position to be in, right? Because you can't be all the way amped up or ready for competition when you're just waiting. But at the same time, now that you're on the field, you got to get to that point really, really fast. Again, luckily, though, they're joining teams that they know very well. Again, the coach was a student on the other team. I'm sure he keeps up some contacts there. And both of those teams are familiar with 33 as well. 33 has been around playing with and against those two teams for, the 35-39 for a long time. So they should be able to jump right in. We know they can shoot that one ball in auto mode, which is going to be important. They're not as good offensively as the robot they're replacing, but I don't think anybody was expecting them to play offense. They're going to go straight to defense, and if they can slow down or shut down 27 on the other side of the field, then this Blue Alliance has a chance to come back and take it in the third match here.
A quick aside, I asked you earlier today, we see the kids picking up the robots and carrying them off onto the playing field. What do the robots weigh, about 150 pounds?
Yep, that's almost exactly right.
Okay.
So 125 pounds is the weight limit.
but that does not account for the battery, which is another 14 pounds, and the bumpers, which could be up to 15.
Are they checked, or is that weight verified?
It is, yeah. There's actually an inspection process when you show up at the event. So your robot will get put on a scale to be weighed. It will also get size. There's a maximum starting height limit, as well as, we call it a frame perimeter, but the distance around the outside of your robot has to be less than a certain distance. And a whole bunch of other things are going to get checked. You're only allowed to use specific types of motors. You're only allowed to use specific types of electronics for some of the parts of the robot. Some parts it's wide open. So they actually will take you to a station, weigh the robot, size the robot, and then send an inspector to your pit to go over all of those other things. Are you using the appropriate sized wires for this motor? Is this a legal motor? And so on, all the way down until you are, deemed fit for competition.
So there's a weigh-in for boxers. There's a weigh-in for robots.
Yep.
Okay.
And the difference here is during the tournament, if something breaks and you have to fix it, well, if your fix added weight, you got to go back to the scale.
Ooh. Oh, I didn't think about that. Right.
Yeah, and you can see engineers love a puzzle. So again, we got Omar here, and he is going to find out what's wrong with this robot. It doesn't matter anymore. This robot is not playing in this match. They want to fix it for the future, but he's not going to leave that team until they get to the bottom of what the issue is.
I think you're just dropping names anonymously.
Well, he was out before. That was another name.
Okay.
That's a repeat name.
No, but you could have called him anything. I would have said,
That's
oh,
true.
okay, well, that's
Yep.
Omar. I trust you implicitly. Just like these kids are trusting the engineers that are helping them, the mentors. What do you think they're working on?
With that 7178 robot?
Yeah. Or what was
he was redoing some of the wiring, so it would be the CAN wires that they're going to make sure, and maybe there was an intermittent connection on one.
Okay. So we had to change that graphic with the new robot coming in. That's the Athens Argonauts, 8728. Romeo's Biting Bulldogs, and Notre Dame Prep with the Killer Bees.
Yep, and here's our fun fact. The last match, which was 146 to 136, is, I believe, the highest combined score so far. So both alliances together. And that was down a robot. And so our Blue Alliance is going to hope that that number doesn't get matched as their defense makes a difference here.
Yeah, when you're talking plus minus, if you're getting about 80, almost 80 points out of your robot, you're doing good.
Absolutely. Well, that looks good. You can see FMS connected, correct station. And a good look at their camera on their robot. That's a camera feed coming through, live stream to the driver station here.
When you take the two alliances that happen together, that last match beat that high score by 26 points.
We're still looking. We got an FTA out on the field now, looking at the 2337 Red Alliance robot. That's the engineers from Grand Blanc. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They are connected to the field. The robot obviously worked after their fall. Chances are the camera is not coming through. So chances are they're waiting for that camera feed to show up correctly at the driver station. Sometimes you have to restart the camera. It doesn't show up. The robots are actually networked together with the driver station, and sometimes the camera just kind of disappears from everything, and rebooting it brings it back into the network. That's the most likely cause. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see, and that is a veteran team. They know all the tricks, so they're gonna make sure they have enough time to get that reconnected. As you look at, that's the 27 robot. Got a lot of pretty robots on the field this time. So we've got the painted or the anodized, the red and black motif from 2337, and then actually Rush and the Killer Bees both using a lot of yellow. And that's some great parts on the side. Look at that. All the material removed there, all those triangles that they cut out. All of that is because that material doesn't help with strength, or doesn't help much with strength, but adds a lot of weight. So you can take all of that out, save a lot of weight, make that weight limit we were talking about earlier.
Very aesthetically pleasing. And we think we are good to go. So the winner here is getting into the finals.
If we want to watch 33, when 33 comes back with these last two balls, do they get them on target or not? Nope.
Some misses, some Blue Alliance misses in autonomous. Not good. Red Alliance has a lead here as we move into teleop.
So they've got to play catch up. Let's see, 87-28 on the field is right now not hitting anybody. And now they're finally across the field. Yeah, I don't know where they're going here. I don't know what the plan is. They finally are on 27 now.
Blue Alliance with a couple of makes, but still that gap is almost at 20 points.
And so we need to pick that defense up. 87-28 is just sort of getting run around the field by 27. They're not able to keep up with them right now.
We just saw a barrage of red cargo balls going into the upper hub.
Yeah, and I think even right now, 87-28 can't keep up with 27. I think they should switch their defense and go after 23-37 instead. Because they're just behind 27 all the time. 27 is just going right past them, getting in position to shoot, and they're gone before they kind of recover. Looks like maybe a small change here. They're switching over to 50-90. See, we also have a ton of balls stuck. The balls are stuck.
Goodness.
They're not feeding out. And I don't know if that's going to play into things, but we had a row of 4 or 5 balls stuck on one of the exits. It looked like they were both colors, though. I don't know if that's going to be determined to be an issue with the field or not.
Well, Blue Alliance either has to up their defense or just start getting that cargo up in that upper hub.
Yeah, and they got to close the gap a little bit before hang time.
Yeah. Because you can't rely on making a big splash in hang time because every robot can hang.
Yeah, they're quickly approaching the point where they need another robot to fall off the bar.
And that's not a good strategy.
It is not. And 87-28 is no longer moving at all. Oh, they came back a little bit. So they've got to get back and make their hang. But it's a big gap right now.
Watch
24
those Red Alliance robots. They don't have to,
23-37, not going up.
They don't have to get crazy in the hang. Red Alliance doesn't.
Yep. So they chose not to push it.
Yeah.
They knew they had enough points.
Right.
They held on that mid bar for 6 points. And while Blue executed 2 traversal rungs, I don't think 87-28 got back in time. And that last-minute substitution might have just been enough to put our Red Alliance through to the finals.
So they got conservative late in the hang. That's fine. The scoreboard was in their favor. Let's jump back to the beginning of this and see how it all started.
So we see Red kind of executing as usual. 87-28 shot. I don't know if theirs bounced out or one of 33's bounced out, but here's the difference. 27 comes back and nails their shot. 33 sends 2 over the hub. And, you know, we left auto mode with essentially that difference, about a 8 to 12 point difference in score. And that was one good hit. One good hit, but now 27's gone. So you hit them once, and that's great. But now where you get to where 27 was, they're gone again. And they get to where 27 was, and they're gone again. And they just could not keep up. I think that the difference in the defensive robots here, they should have probably sent 87-28 after one of the slower robots on the Red Alliance, either 23-37 or 50-90.
Here's the hang. Blue Alliance trying to hang in literally.
Excellent hangs here. 2 traversal hangs like clockwork, but too little and too late for the Blue Alliance. And we see 87-28 got their hook on, but weren't able to pull up in time. So no points there.
So we have another finalist as the Red Alliance moves ahead. 135-116. 20-ish points in cargo, 24 points. That's about the difference. And let's go downstairs and connect with Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with John from Team 27. John, your finals bound. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm glad we managed to pull through. We ended up getting back into the zone after that first match. Got back in just like practice at home, and we were able to pull through, score a crazy ton of balls, and hang out at the end with our partners. So it was a good time.
What changed from the first match to now?
Well, during the first match, I think we were a little scared since our shooter didn't work during the practice match, but it got fixed. We got more confidence. We kind of went back, did some breathing, did some Zen meditation, prayed, and went back to, again, just those practice exercises, and we were able to pull through, so.
What do you think is the biggest strength your alliance has that has taken you this far?
I think it's definitely the companionship. Starting on Friday, we actually met with both of our alliance partners. We had some dinner with them. We talked strategy at our hotel, had some fun, and it carried over into the weekend. Fist bump, hug, just everything. So it's just like another tight-knit family outside of our teams.
What's going to be your mindset? Obviously, you're excited to be here and to go into the finals, but what's going to be your mindset going into this that you hope can take you through and hopefully get you that win?
Well, it's what our mentor always says, one ball at a time, one match at a time. You got to focus on the next ball, launch that ball, and then focus on the next. That's all that matters.
What would you tell yourself advice right now to a few days ago or a few weeks ago? What advice would you give yourself?
Just be more confident in yourself. You got this. We have a good robot, can do amazing driving, so just have more confidence.
All right, well, congratulations and good luck.
All right, thank you so much.
Dan and Dan, take it away.
All right, Zen meditation. We have not explored that aspect of bringing yourself to a centered, healthy place.
The one with the
Yes.
cargo.
Oh, insight. Yes, very good. All right. Let's hear from one of our corporate sponsors, Lisa Savage from Aptiv.
Hey everyone, Lisa Savage from Aptiv here with me. Lisa, tell me first what Aptiv is.
Yeah, so Aptiv is a mobility company dedicated to making mobility safer, greener, and more connected. We work on technologies that are around autonomous driving. We work on high voltage electrification. We work on connectorizing throughout the vehicle and also making sure that we can send data out over the cloud and be able to communicate with the world around us.
Sure, and Aptiv is a sponsor for First Robotics. Tell me why Aptiv did decide to be a sponsor for this.
Yeah, so this is actually the first year that we've been a title sponsor for this competition. And we're just so excited about all the energy that these students have around becoming engineers, becoming the next technologists, becoming the next business people. And those are exactly the people that we would love to work at our company. They are already building the skills in teamwork, in learning how to ask questions and cooperating with each other and problem solving. So we see a lot of value in getting involved with these students and getting them interested in working for us in the future.
What does Aptiv have to offer to students?
So we do have a lot of internships and apprenticeships as well. So the internships are more for our college path folks, but we also offer apprenticeships for students who really just want to go into the workforce. So we started that last year, and the apprenticeships are both coding path and also technician path. And we're looking for our next big cohort of apprentices as well.
Gotcha. Besides internships and apprenticeships, what other opportunities do you guys offer, if they're going in for a job to Aptiv? What kind of opportunities do you guys offer, different job paths?
Yeah, so we're constantly looking for folks who have new ideas. And we're always trying to push the boundaries of technology. As I mentioned, we work in really trying to make things safer, greener, and more connected. So we're always looking to advance technology, and we're looking for new ideas, fresh ideas. And yeah, it's great to see what these kids are doing and getting involved.
Sure. So you've been involved in robotics for a while. What characteristics do you think robotics taught you that you brought into your career?
The big one is the ability to ask questions.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. So for that, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't have the opportunity to ask my mentors questions and learn from those opportunities. And I think that's something that first is really ingrained in me, is just always ask questions, always be willing to learn, never be the smartest person in the room, because there's always more to learn.
You're 100% correct. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for your time, and I'm glad you joined us here today.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Bye to you guys.
Let's stay with Aptiv. One of their components that they're letting people know more about is their high voltage electrification teach-in.
What does it take to create a more sustainable future of mobility? What does it take to build a future with zero traffic fatalities and zero emissions? Aptiv is uniquely positioned to answer those questions, situated at the intersection of the safe, green, and connected megatrends transforming the automotive industry. Sustainability is in our DNA. We are taking on some of society's toughest challenges with innovations that combat climate change, save lives, and improve the way the world moves. With both the brain and the nervous system of the vehicle, Aptiv Solutions optimize electric vehicle architecture, making intelligent design trade-offs that reduce cost, weight, and mass, allowing for faster democratization of technologies that reduce CO2 emissions and reduce traffic accidents and fatalities. Aptiv not only leads the industry in high-voltage component innovations, from chargers and inlets to power converters and battery disconnect units, but also in process automation, miniaturization, and manufacturing excellence. Through Aptiv's smart vehicle architecture, we see the vehicle as a complete system, enabling an efficient and accelerated path to the electrified, software-defined vehicle. Sustainability is also in the way we operate. Aptiv is committed to having its operations in 44 countries, powered by 100% renewable energy by 2030, and becoming fully carbon neutral by 2040. With our full system solutions, innovative spirit, and unmatched global capabilities, Aptiv is the customer's partner of choice to bring the future of mobility to life.
We are into our finals. 6 robots left. And we will set the stage in just a moment. One of the red alliances will become a blue alliance. That's Clarkston, Grand Blanc, and Trenton, who will battle with Avondale, Center for Innovation, and Skyline. And that's Avondale, the Robo Jackets.
Yep.
So sorry, Lapeer High School Center for Innovation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. So we look back through some of the scores these alliances have put up. 27, 23, 37, and 50, 90 here are Consumers Energy Alliance. No surprises, right? We said they were sort of the favorite going in. They were a #1 seed on their field. The other one, though, DTE Foundation, this was a 3 seed that really had to battle through a tough division to make it out. Able to win their semifinal matchup here 2-0. And actually, it's this 3 seed from DTE Foundation that has the highest cargo score of the tournament. Their best cargo scoring match was 122 points. The best cargo scoring match for Consumers Energy thus far is only 112. So 10-point difference there. That's probably within the realm of they could definitely go ball for ball here. But a slight edge to the Red Alliance.
So philosophically, do you think, Dan, that most teams, when they say, okay, how are we going to play defense? We're going to position our defense to play our defensive robot against the highest scoring robot on the other team. I mean, that seems like the obvious way. You want to take out their best scorer. Is that the way that you would play defense here?
So the question is, right, do you think your defensive robot can cause a high enough delta in the number of points scored, right? Can they deny enough shots, enough points to make up for what they could have made if they were playing offense? And up until this event, we have seen that exact sort of meta strategy where you have 2 offensive robots and 1 defensive robot. But with these 2 alliances on this field, the 3rd robot has played offense every single match. So we might see 3 robots on offense versus 3 robots on offense here. And if that's the case, well, a lot of little things can decide this. Where the balls fall out of the hub, right? It's randomly decided which of the 4 exits they're going to come out. If you get a little luckier and the balls roll towards your side, obviously we need to see execution in the end game. We need to see hanging points from both sides. And the last thing, which is like a subtle thing, and we need to watch for this, is who's the most comfortable with contact. If everybody's playing offense, but you and an opponent are going to the same area on the field, who's looking to sort of initiate contact and who's looking to avoid it? And if you can sneak some of those hits in, if you can sneak some defense in, knowing that your driver will recover from the hit faster, you can give yourself a small advantage that way as well.
I wonder, too, if maybe, it's like, I'm going to lay, if you say, again, to go back to philosophically, I'm going to lay off the other team's most offensively productive robot. Instead, I'll go for a robot that maybe doesn't usually get that much attention. Maybe by, a couple of hits and throwing them off their game, you're still going to deny them from getting shots. I don't know if they dig that deep or think that deep. But,
no, that we were talking about that just in the last semifinal matchup where, I think it was 87-28 at the time. I think they would have been able to play more effective defense against 23-37. And,
right.
I probably would have called that switch. They were already down in the match, and so you're kind of you're grasping at straws, but I think it was worth a try. And we'll see. Another interesting thing about this matchup here, too, is we've got swerve robots on the Blue Alliance, 23-37 swerves, and 27, also a swerve robot. What that means is they can go sideways. Their wheels actually can all steer, so they can go in any direction. But they don't have a turret on top. Meanwhile, on the other alliance, right, 35-38 and 54-60 don't swerve. They have a standard sort of tank drivetrain, but they've got turrets on top. So those are both two different ways to solve the same problem of how do you aim at the goal quickly.
Let's go downstairs and connect with Kaylee Marintet. Kaylee?
Hey guys, I got a special guest here with me today, Brian. He's a volunteer. You also might see him in the arena. He's the master of ceremonies. Brian, you've been involved for more than 20 years. Tell me about that.
Yes, I started off as a coach. I was a coach for about 10 years. And as I started to end my coaching time, I decided I wanted to volunteer at the events. So I was selected to be a master of ceremonies about 12 years ago, and I've been doing that ever since, and it's been great fun.
What's kept you around for so long?
I really like the inspiration part of FIRST. I love to inspire the students, and I'm a big fan of science, technology, engineering, and math. So it's a big passion of mine.
I gotta know, you kind of hype me up when you're so full of energy and just get everyone riled up. What keeps you going through all this?
I'm just very positive all the time, and I love to spread that positivity to everyone that I meet and just try to keep the teams as excited and happy as we can be.
Well, I think you're doing a great job. So keep up the good work, and thank you for talking to me, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, there's positive energy all over the place here. And we're waiting for, all the robots are in place. Cargo is in place. And Brian's got to hustle back and do his thing.
Yep.
So we were waiting on Brian.
We were waiting on Brian.
Yeah.
We caused the delay.
Right.
Sorry, everybody
Michigan
watching.
State Championship Finals.
To make up for it, here's some history of the teams in the Michigan State Finals.
Okay.
27 has won before. 27 won in 14 and 16, 2014 and 2016. So two-time state champion is 27. Nobody else on this field has won a state championship. 35-38 was a finalist, second place in 2019. 54-60 was a finalist twice in 2019 when they lost to, and 2016. 2016, they played against 27 and lost. And 23-37 was a finalist in 2013. So a lot of teams have been close, but only one team on this field has actually secured that state championship.
So as we start the finals, teams are reintroduced.
Yeah, we do this. Usually it's a handshake, but I think we're going to be doing a
wave
or a round of applause for your opponent here, just for a show of sportsmanship. So a chance to get the crowd hyped up a little bit here as they reintroduce all of the teams.
And there will be more robotics next week for, some of these teams. So that's, certainly something to build on in Houston.
Yeah, all the teams on the field, almost assuredly you're qualified.
Yeah.
You make it this deep in the state championship, you're gonna punch your ticket to the world championship in Houston.
And where does Michigan stand in terms of being represented against the other 49 states in the U.S.?
There are a few different opinions on that. We are, I think, top to bottom, the strongest region. There are a few teams out there that are perhaps as strong as our strongest teams or maybe a little bit better. So the best team in the world might not be from Michigan. But if you wanted to take 20 teams, the average from Michigan is going to be higher than the average from any other region.
Please welcome to the field, Team.
And how many teams total will be in Houston?
Oh,
best guess.
I can't remember. There are 6 divisions there instead of 4.
Okay.
And I think it's 60 teams a division. So we're looking at maybe 360 teams. And sometimes they sneak a few more in, so it might grow a little bit from there.
Banana guy. Fired up.
With a crown.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
You're all right. Well, you got to look unique.
I think we saw that costume. I don't know if it was that guy, but we saw that costume in Alliance selection. They came out to accept the invitation to join the Alliance.
So there is someone you don't know. You don't know the name of Banana Guy.
I do not know the name of Banana Guy.
All right.
I will endeavor to find out.
There's at least one person. Look, he's got buttons on. He's rocking it.
Yeah, but no name tag.
That's no wonder you're upset. Yeah,
help
right.
me out here.
Okay. All right. Well, the introductions have played out. Is there any kind of adrenaline kick that comes into play? I mean, you're right at the end of this thing. You'd think they're, kind of even, but is there more of an adrenaline hit right now?
There's like that. There are those moments of realization, right? So when you win your division, you're like, oh my God, we're going to the Final Four on one field. Then you're like, can we keep winning? And that's the moment where you have to sort of pass that confidence check. Yeah. When you win your semifinal match before the first match in the finals, same thing. And if you go up right after the first match, when it's like now it's do or die, that's the final kind of gut check.
Right.
And drivers have varying amounts of experience with that. And I think everybody here has been at least to 2 events, and they've experienced a decent amount of that.
Into autonomous we go. Good start for the Red Alliance. Blue keeping pace though.
23-37. Did they get rid of both their balls? I think they did actually. I think we're looking at red light. Yeah, red light there on the front. So that was a pretty much dead even autonomous mode. Okay, it was an exactly dead even autonomous mode, 34-34.
And now they hop to it. There is not much gap at all between this blue and red alliance.
And everybody's chosen to play offense here. So all 6 robots are collecting and shooting. 35-38, having a little bit of trouble picking up balls there. And I think they thought they had one. Lined up to shoot, and nothing came out.
So the challenge is really when you go all offense, it's ball security, ball management.
And you have to work with your team because you might have to rotate around that center structure, that goal, to get to the next set of balls. But your teammate needs to read that and rotate the same direction.
And you can't flood in one area either. You got to disperse.
Right. You cannot be in each other's way. That is the biggest thing here. And we see it's neck and neck.
Oh boy, we're going to have a ton of points here. Both of these teams closing in on 70 points with so much time left. And again, there is no margin of lead for anybody right now.
23-37 went short on one, but very quick to reacquire the game piece. 27 in a bit of no man's land here, but...
Oh, we got a big push by red.
Yep.
That's going to bump their lead over 10.
2 small hiccups one by 27 and one by 23-37 sort of open the door here, but they come right back.
Yeah.
Close down the gap a little bit.
See if they get ready for the hang. Not yet.
Nobody's going to go early.
Yeah.
They can't afford to. Maybe the third robot can go early. But
Blue making a bit of a comeback here, but red, boy, they just come back with
just
another big
dumped it right back in. Yep.
Wow.
It's just timing of those cycles when you're going to get your big salvo off. And red is creeping up here a little bit. They stretched it over 10 points for the first time this match, but blue is waiting for a few balls to clear.
You got to hang efficiently if you're the Blue Alliance.
Now, it's getting real late. We need to see hangs now.
Yeah.
One robot from each side staying out. Can they both get their hangs? Blue, 27 is the first one up. Engineers missed the last attempt, and they're not going. Engineers stopped on the high bar, but so did 54-60. This is a tied end game.
Oh, my goodness.
Both of them leaving some points on the table. And if this holds, it's the Red Alliance with the advantage going into the endgame section that should be able to take game number 1.
Well, if you're wondering if these are the 2 best alliances, I'm pretty sure they put that argument to rest. They're both going to be in the 150-point range. And this is early.
Yep, Engineered's great shots from the front court, but so is 54-60, so is 33-22. I mean, we have great offensive robots on the field here. And this is where 35-38, actually, this is a long time. They haven't shot this whole time we've been watching, and they're still trying to find some balls. So some accidental or intentional defense, while 50, 90, and 27 were playing offense to sort of make some trouble for 35-38. But more good shots, but 35-38 eventually would find their way free and score a ton. Yep. Here is where once they got that ball, now they're in the groove again. So they come back, drop 2, and look, now they've got another ball already. So that's a much smaller delay, right? And they didn't chase this one around.
Right.
So they got right back in their game, and that's good. This is what we were talking about, where can you be rattled? And they started maybe a little rattled at the beginning of this match, but they settled down, and they were able to bring it back.
So it is a Red Alliance win. We're going to tally up the points, but it was, well, I tell you that it does not get much more entertaining than that.
This should be, we're waiting for the final score, but this should be the new high combined score. Told you earlier, 146 to 136 was the highest combined score. I think we just
we're flirting
that.
with 300, pretty much, at this point.
Yep.
Wow.
A new high combined score.
156 to 138.
Jeez.
It was all pretty much cargo points. A little bit in the hang, but mostly in cargo. But boy, can you imagine putting up 138 points and coming up short?
I don't know. I mean, that has to be the highest losing score.
Right. No penalties either, so it was clean.
And we should see clean matches for the most part because they're playing all offense. Unless, right, now the question is, does the Blue Alliance come back and play defense? And that might be a smart choice. 35-38, for example, when they are left alone to run free like that, which this is almost the first match we've seen that. I think we saw one earlier matchup where they were left alone. They are deadly. But under defense, we saw strong defense, especially 56-12 in their semifinal match, that brought their scoring way, way down. So we'll see if Blue here, our Consumers Energy Alliance, decides to make a change, swap 50-90 from offense to defense, or if they think, you know what, it really wasn't that many balls different, and we didn't hit our end game. So let's go back, let's do the same thing, let's execute slightly better and hit our end game, and we're good. It's interesting because there are two teams down there, 27 and 23-37, that have a lot of history, a lot of experience in this situation. 27 is a team that would be more prone to go with the previous strategy and try to execute better. 23-37 is a team that typically will try to change things up. So we'll see what they come up with when they put their heads together.
Downstairs we go to Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with Thor from 33-22. A high-scoring game. Talk to me about your strategy.
Really, our role on our alliance is just to get as many balls as possible. You know, the other robots are really strong against defense. They're really good at standing up to the other robots and scoring through that, and we just pick up all the balls they leave behind.
What do you think, overlooking the entire day, what was the biggest challenge your alliance had to overcome?
I think our biggest challenge was just figuring out the strategy together and coming together as an alliance. It took us a couple of our elims matches to really come together and establish our strategy, but I think we've got it really together now.
Okay, what do you want to take into the finals that maybe your team hasn't brought before?
I just want to shoot our best match yet. I want to get our high score.
Okay, sounds good. What do you want to tell the rest of your alliance right now?
I just want to tell them to keep doing what they're doing.
I got to ask too about this. What's going on here with the cape?
Yeah, we have sort of a Roman theme to our team, and that's what the laurels are too. And yeah, it's just a special thing we do for our drive team to wear capes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thanks for your time, Thor. I'm going to send it back up to you guys.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, always nice to grab a good costume interview.
Eagle Imperium.
Right, yes, absolutely. We do have a timeout. So what do you think is the purpose of a timeout here?
This is just a field timeout.
Okay.
It's pretty much impossible for you to go back-to-back matches on these robots. You need a little bit of time to swap the battery, reset them into starting position, and let your motors cool off a little bit. So when teams would play in a back-to-back match like this, there's a field timeout. It used to be 6 minutes. It got increased to 8 because teams were having a little bit of trouble making that timer this year. So they get 8 minutes to sort of reset their robots. That's also 8 minutes to converse with your scouts, get your heads together, decide if you want to change your strategies or
not.
Let's hear from one of our corporate sponsors, Consumer Energy, explaining their Circuit West program.
You know, it's so interesting to think about the West Side even 10 years ago. You had buildings that were these beautiful historic buildings, yet they sat there with no love and no investment.
Recognizing a chance to reimagine this historic neighborhood, Mike Van Gessel of Rockford Construction joined forces with the City of Grand Rapids and Consumers Energy.
The city has an aspiration to be one of the most sustainable cities in the nation. And we at Consumers Energy have a similar ambition to be coal-free by 2025.
Consumers Energy and Rockford Construction met the needs of the city by putting electric lines underground and installing on-site solar panels and battery storage. This created a cleaner, more reliable energy grid, which helped draw residents and businesses back to the West Side.
I really didn't miss Chicago as much as I thought I would, because Chicago is known for having a lot of options. Well, here's New Holland Brewery, and here's Butcher's Union, and here's Condado Taco, and here's Ando Sushi, and I found that the West Side really feels like home, and I've really loved living here.
The community has really loved this store being here, a local option for them to get groceries, and obviously being a part of Circuit West and thinking about the future of sustainability has been great for us.
I think this is the future. Where we're at with this project is a sample size of what we can continue to do more of.
To me, it's where's the next Circuit West?
So still a little time before we move into our second finals match. It could be the end-all, unless the Blue Lions can reverse and flip the script.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the last match, it was 156 to 138. That's an 18-point victory, fairly comfortable, but there were points left on the table in endgame. It was, I think, Engineers were on the 6-point bar instead of the 15-point bar, so that's 9 points they could have gotten back there. And then you look at something like an autonomous mode where 1 or 2 bounce outs. 2 bounce outs would be 8 points, and congratulations, it's a tie game. So there's a lot of merit to going back out and just trying to execute a little bit better. I'm not sure if this is a situation where you really need to mix it up, but you know, we have seen defense be fairly effective against 35-38. And not at this event so much, but at previous events, we have seen some defense played effectively against 54-60. So potentially taking 50-90, switching them over to that defensive role is our second option here for the #1 seeded alliance out of Consumers Energy Field.
Let's hear from our sponsor, Aptiv, and they're more than a car.
What if we made a car the way we all want it to be? What if we just started fresh? A fast charging system of electrified efficiency and power with no emissions. A self-upgrading smart device that's always connected to the world around it. A car with the ability to sense, process, and interact with that world to ensure unparalleled safety. For all of us, what do you call a car when it's more than just a car? It really doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is where it takes us. At Aptiv, we work with our partners to reconceive vehicles as intelligent platforms for sustainable, self-driving, software-defined mobility. Vehicles optimized for electric power, designed for advanced safety, and always connected to the cloud. Vehicles that move beyond the status quo, continuously evolving and improving over their lifetime. Where traffic accidents become obsolete. Where our cars, or our trucks, or our whatever you want to call them, transport us all to a safer, greener, and more connected world of mobility.
The robots are on their way back to the playing field. Dan, I guess one question is, philosophically, maybe if you're the Blue Lions, sometimes your decision is easier when it's more obvious. As you kind of alluded to, Blue Alliance might be thinking, hey, we're right there. We don't have to make any wholesale changes or do anything. Sometimes the hardest coaching is to know when you don't need to change.
Yeah, yep.
Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is a situation, it's almost a coin flip for me. Now, the coaches that are down on the field with their alliance know their robots better than I know their robots. They've been obviously watching all of their matches because they're in them, and I've just seen some of them. But it's hard to say. Going to a defensive strategy could be very effective and win you the match, or it could be a disaster, right? Which we've seen.
Yeah.
We've seen the 3 offense triumphing against the 2 offense, 1 defense in both of our semifinal matchups. So to take that tact could be a problem here. Again, it's like, it's not a lot. Those 18 points, we broke those 18 points down, and an engineered's traversal climb, 1 ball difference in auto mode, or just a few more balls bouncing towards your shooters and a few more balls bouncing away from the other team's shooters could be more than enough to take it over for you. So you got to be careful not to get too clever, not to do too much and make a change when you don't need to, and cost you the match. But at the same time, you know, it's hard to go back out and not change anything.
So here's how things shake down. A Red Alliance win means they are state champions. And we'll go to Houston with all kinds of confidence next weekend at the World Championships. And they're called World Championships, but internationally Canada, Mexico, where else do they come from?
There are a lot of teams in Israel. Turkey has a population. We've got some teams from Brazil, Australia, China, I believe, and I think there are a smattering of teams in the rest of kind of the European Union as well.
So truly World Championships.
In fact, last year there was a team from the Netherlands that was one of the world champions.
Oh, wow. Well, there's one robot, the 2337 Blue Alliance robot. That's the Engineers from Grand Blanc. Getting in a little extra TLC right now.
I think it's great in that one student's hands is a bunch of flyers removed before flight things. He's got hooks as well to help carry the robot. So they just have a whole process that they go through to get ready for a match. I don't think anything is wrong, but we haven't seen 2337 make it to the traversal bar in several matches. And if that doesn't work, that might also spur them on more to go into that defensive robot strategy. On the red side of the field, something that was just passed to me actually, 3538's driver was their driver in 2019. So their driver before the pandemic, still in school, still the driver for that team. So that's a driver with a lot of experience. In fact, they made it at Worlds to the final field. So we're here, we brought our divisions together, and this is our first in Michigan final field. The Worlds one they call Einstein. Some people call this one Fimstein. Our Final Four field. So they have experience on a very big stage. So there shouldn't be too many nerves coming from that robot and that driver.
Well, Dan, you've been name dropping all day. I have just confirmed through my sources that Banana Man's name is Jonathan.
I can't argue with that. It's now canon. We're going to hear from Jonathan or Jonathan's parents as they watch this cast to let us know how wrong we were.
Right. I don't know that you can trust my sources either, but my sources are telling me it's Jonathan.
So apologies if that name is wrong. Our sources lied to us.
Right, exactly. So we'll get one more introduction here. And then we'll get down to brass tacks, as they say.
And we're going to keep our eyes after autonomous mode. Of course, autonomous mode, we're watching 27 and 35-38 with those late shots, making sure they both drop. After autonomous mode, eyes should go to 50-90 and see if they score or if they go straight to defense.
Yeah, sometimes, as a coach, you have to be confident in your game plan. And I don't think Blue Alliance should be thinking, hey, we got to flip the script just because, we lost by, 15 points or whatever.
Again, we broke down that loss. It's 18 points. Yes, It feels big, but it wasn't that big when you look at the couple of things that could have gone their way.
Right.
It's like everything is ready to go. It's going to hype the crowd up a little bit.
And strike zone over here have been in this position 1,100 days ago. But that time, they lost against the Gems, the Goon Squad.
So we're getting a little bit of backstory, at least on one team. I don't know if he's going to go for all or for both teams or all 6 robots, but we'll see.
Drivers behind the
Looks
lines.
like we are ready to go.
In 3, 2, 1, go!
Got to have a good start here. Red Alliance, that looks good. Blue Alliance
No misses
looks
yet.
pretty good too.
So far, both sides are perfect. These last 2 shots are what decides it, and one red, one missed. And we said that's one thing that has to happen to make up that scoring difference. 4-point lead for Blue.
The margin of error shrinks, and a Blue Alliance win will extend this championship.
50-90 hit 33-22 a couple times. They're now picking up red balls. 50-90 is, well, they're, okay, so they placed one red ball in behind the hub, trying to hide it, and they shot another one in the air. So it looks like 50-90 is playing defense. They're hitting robots, and they're also trying to steal red balls. It so far is working. Blue is pulling ahead.
Yeah, it's close though.
Yep.
Within 5 points. Red Alliance plugging away. This is no time to be timid.
27 finding no balls in their quadrant, had to cross the field. That slowed them down a little bit.
Another red ball bounces out. We're not seeing great shooting by the Red Alliance.
Nope. Engineers go 1 for 2, 23-37. And that 50-90 robot is just sitting on 54-60, who was, you know, massive in the previous match, but gets free, makes a couple.
The gap is sizable now, about 15 plus, almost 20 now. And Red Alliance is going to have to make a big splash in the hang and hope that Blue Alliance can.
Yep, they need to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
This gap is a little bit too big for Red. They've got to close the gap just a bit in order to give themselves a shot in the end game.
And the defense is distracting the Red Alliance from picking up their cargo.
Yeah, doing a great job playing defense. 54-60 needs to break free. We'd like to see them get at least one more round of shots off here as the defense switches over to 35-38. Got to be real careful playing defense here in the endgame period. If you follow them into their zone, it's going to be a problem.
You can see the Blue Alliance extending this time, too. They don't want to hang too early. They don't want to leave points out there.
Correct.
Here comes the hang. Red Alliance is going to miss.
23-37 is up. So their robot is working. They've got the traversal.
Wow.
It's going to be a draw, basically. A wash in endgame. What looks like a 6-point lead for Blue. Going into endgame, should carry through pending any late penalties. So 23-37 has put it to rest. The rumors that they could not get to the traversal bar.
Yeah.
They were holding back in the previous matches, probably for safety. They needed it here. They got it here, no problem.
Well, I'll tell you, the combined score for this one is probably going to be right at the same level the last one was. So there's no drop off at all. Let's go back and replay and see where the defense came into play here.
50-90 grabbing, Blue Bumpers grabbing a red ball and then hitting 54-60 there. And then sort of dumping that red ball out into what they are hoping is a harder to find area. And that's completely legal. You can pick up the opposing alliance balls, the opposite colored balls. You can hold up to 2 of them for as long as you want. And you can shoot them across the field. You can sort of bury them places.
Here's what happened in the hangar zone.
Yep, so this is the point where they stopped on the last 2 or 3 matches. This time they hook the traversal bar and go for it. And then 27, again, automatic. Coming up a little bit late, but with plenty of time to release, so they get the full 15 points for that traversal bar, and that's a 36-point end game for the Blue Alliance.
So we can see that the Blue Alliance has done enough. And we said combined score might be pushed. Gonna do some quick math here. It's pushed by, I think, 2 points. And you can see Blue Alliance Talk about a slim margin of error. Talk about 6 points. That's three cargo balls difference. Yep. That's it.
One missed ball in auto mode was 4 of those points.
Yep.
That's 1 cargo ball during the match decided this. 1 missed ball in auto, 1 cargo during the rest of teleop.
The Blue Alliance lives to fight another day. Let's go downstairs with Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with Ian from 5090. How are you feeling after all of that? Pretty intense.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, I didn't really expect it. We played some real good defense out there, and the other teams did some really good offense. And, you know, I'm walking away really happy right now.
What do you think was the biggest key to winning that?
I think the biggest key is, of course, part of it was our defense. It's one of the things that changed from the previous match. We played some pretty heavy defense on all those bots, you know, moving balls around and everything. So, yeah, I'd say that is a pretty key part of it.
What do you think the biggest strength is that your alliance has here?
I guess we have this connection. We just are together, I guess. It's hard to put into words.
All right, well, I know you got to get back out there, so thank you, Ian. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Dan and Dan?
Interesting, he said that they were trying to play more defense. But they only shaved 10 points off. I'm not saying he's not disagreeing with him, but that just tells you that, you know, even 1 or 2, if you force 1 or 2 or 3 misses, that's meaningful.
It can make a difference, yeah. So there's one more way to look at this, and that is there are only 11 balls on the field. And if 5090 playing offense, if they're taking too long to pick up those balls, if they're blocking areas of the field where their alliance partners want to go, they could actually be slowing down the offense of their partners. We saw their score went up when they stopped playing offense, and it might just be a congestion issue. We might have been seeing a Red Alliance doing a better job of spreading the field and working together with each other, and we might have seen 5090 just maybe a little bit too much where other robots needed to go. By switching them to defense, it freed up some of the balls for their partners to use, and they were able to slow down the Red Alliance with some of those good hits. Some of those, they delayed them picking up balls. They were able to snatch a few red balls and dump them into harder to get areas. And if they can maintain that, well, they can win, but at the same time, it's a 6-point victory. So, I mean, it's anybody's match for this third one.
We've got a timeout here at the Riders Center. Let's take a break and hear from one of our corporate sponsors, Kettering University.
At Consumers Energy, we believe change is imagining. Change is big, small, clean. Him, them, us, you. Together, we can bring clean energy to Michigan and protect the environment for generations to come. Learn about your clean energy choices and how you can become a force of change. consumersenergy.com/change.
If you want to continue enjoying the excitement of robotics, come check out what's going on at Kettering University, including their combat robotics team and FIRST Center. Turn your robotics experience into a professional career. Be sure to apply to Kettering beginning in August of 2022. Go to kettering.edu/apply to learn more.
DTE believes leaders are defined by doing what's right, not what's easy. So we're tripling renewables and cutting carbon emissions in half over the next 10 years and using cleaner natural gas. Working even harder to create a future where producing affordable, reliable energy doesn't contribute to climate change. Because to lead, we have to do what's right. DTE.
Michigan First Robotics is brought to you by Consumers Energy. Count on us. Ford Motor Company. Aptiv. Kettering University. FCA Foundation. DTE Foundation. So our timeout continues. Everybody working in the pits. And strategy-wise, what would you change? Nothing, right?
I mean, so blue feels like their adjustment was successful. I don't think they're going to change a thing. Red, we haven't seen 33-22 play defense yet, and we've seen how fast 27 is against the defense. We've seen them make some inexperienced defenders look bad as they fly around the field just staying ahead of the defense. So switching them onto defense is a possibility. They would have to probably target 23-37 instead. But, you know, it was a 6-point loss. So Red can come out. Remember, they missed that one ball in auto mode. That was 4 of the 6 points. So a Red Alliance can come back out and do the exact same thing. You know, one thing that we want to see is 35-38 needs to go deep and get some of the balls out of the back of the hangar area. Right, that end game area, those balls are hard to get to, and if balls sort of get stacked up in there, that can slow down your game and your available balls. And when you're playing with 3 robots on offense, making sure that all 11 balls are in the cycle is important, because if you're only playing with, you know, 9 of those balls now, you know, there's that much more of an issue sharing the balls amongst 3 robots. So they got to make sure that they make use of every single ball.
Let's go downstairs with Kaylee Maritet. She's got a very compelling story about one of our volunteers who really has benefited from Michigan First Robotics.
Hey guys, yeah, this is Joel. He's been helping us out down here, and he's a volunteer. But we were having a conversation earlier, and Joel has a really great story that I think everyone should know a little bit more about. Joel, you want to tell me how First Robotics changed your life?
Yeah, I mean, I had undiagnosed ADHD basically the entire time I was in grade school, and it got to a point where, you know, I was constantly told that I wasn't living up to my potential and I was wasting my intelligence. And I got to a point where I was pretty much ready to kill myself. And it was my First Robotics team that pulled me out of it and gave me a place to be every night on a regular basis around adults that just spoke positively into my life, you know.
So First Robotics has literally changed your life for the better. How are you changing others' lives now that yours has been changed?
Well, you know, first is all about giving back. And the way that I choose to do it is as a game announcer. I've been doing that for 7 years. And it's really rewarding. You get to make these core memories with kids and really, you know, fundamentally create these positive experiences around STEM and science and engineering, critical thinking. It's what makes the world go round, really. So it's just very rewarding.
And Joel told me that he got into an amazing school. Tell me about this.
I, you know, got a great scholarship to Kettering University. That's an amazing school, but it's a wonderful school that has a lot of connections to Harvard Business School, which I also got into. I'm going there to get my Master's of Business Administration in the fall. And yeah, I'm really excited.
Do you think that would have been possible without First Robotics?
Not at all. You know, I really blame Kettering for all of the connections that I have to Harvard. And I first met the director of recruiting for Kettering at my first competition in 2008. And so it's really of my involvement that they have been, you know, helping me prepare to make these decisions of consequence and leader in the world, you know, in the business environment. So it's really, I like to say, giants standing on the shoulders of giants. Giant ecosystem, just empowering, loving, to do their best.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing your story with me. I love it. And also congratulations on getting into Harvard. That's amazing.
Thank you.
All right, Dan.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, great story. Congratulations, Joel. Lots of good things in his future. And we are going to have a state championship in Michigan First Robotics in our future. As soon as these robots get in place.
Not be long now.
Which
Looks
can
like
happen soon, hopefully.
Yep, they're all on the field. Not connected yet. They're just turning on. But you can bet they're going to take every extra second that they need to make sure that they are lined up perfectly for this auto mode.
You know, it's almost like you know, not to beat the margin of error thing for death, but really here it's like if you're expecting to get off, you know, 40 shots and you only get off 35,
Yep.
That's
you lose.
meaningful. You
Yep.
lose.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, you could have a ball bounce out. That's gonna be magnified more.
Yep. And a lot of that is luck too.
Yeah,
With the balls bouncing out, right? Our last match again, right? It was one auto ball, one teleop ball would have been a time match. That's it. 2 balls.
Unreal. How do things change for these teams when they go to Worlds? Like, I mean, is it they're totally out of their element, they're out of their state, the travel, what is that dynamic like when they physically go somewhere else?
Luckily for a lot of teams in Michigan, this does end up kind of being a travel event where you come up here and stay in a hotel. So you do get kind of that experience, a little bit of a practice run. But obviously Houston way, way farther away. A big thing is you're going to be playing with teams that you don't know as well. So here, especially the 6 teams on the field, they all know each other. They've all seen each other around. They've all played with each other before. But when you go to Houston and Michigan teams make up 64 of the 360 teams that are there, you're going to be playing with a lot of people you don't know. You're going to have to convince them of what you're capable of doing. When you say, hey, look, our auto mode is great, let us run our auto mode, you kind of have to convince them that that's true if they don't know who you are. So there's a lot more of that communication that you have to be able to do with other teams at the event in order to put yourself in a good position to win. And the crowd is pretty big here. The crowd at Detroit, I believe, when the championship was last in Detroit in 2019, I think the stands had almost 10,000 people in there. So it's even another step up. If you look up and you see the crowd, that's one more thing that could get you a little bit nervous. We are closing up the last gate to the field here.
We will pay close attention to any misses in cargo in teleop or autonomous.
Autonomous first, and then again, we want to just make sure we're going to watch 33-22 and 50-90. Make sure that 33-22 is staying on offense and 50-90 is staying on defense.
And off we go. And all makes so far. Red Alliance with a couple of short shots.
One missed by Red.
Yeah. Slight lead for Blue Alliance here as we move to teleop.
Yep, and that was, again, those 4 points were super important in the last match. We'll see here, Blue, again, off to a quick start.
With Red not backing down.
33-22, sticking on offense. 50-90 is chasing 54-60 around the field, so they're sticking to that defensive role. And they just forced a miss there.
Yeah, Red Alliance missing one of 2 shots. This is playing out a little bit like the last match did.
Feels like scoring is a little bit slower from both alliances right now. And we'll see, 33-22 is running out of balls in their quadrant on the field. But luckily, they get a couple drops right at their feet.
Yeah, ball accessibility becomes very important now, too.
Yeah, and especially for 54-60. 54-60 is in a desert.
2 misses.
That's bad, 35-38. Missing 2 shots there.
Yeah, shooting percentage, very important now. There's a couple of Red makes, but they've got ground to make up here, and time is ticking away. And they've got a robot stuck. That's going to cost them even more.
54-60 just absolutely getting destroyed by the defense thus far. They had to fall back, and I think there's something wrong with their robot now.
Yeah, they're going to go right to hang.
Yeah, it is not driving the way that it should be driving. That is bad news for Red.
And a 20-point gap when you're going into the hanger zone is not going to be a good place for you. So let's see what the Blue Lions can rack up here as they start their climb.
Okay, penalty on Blue.
Don't have to go high rung necessarily, given the size of their lead. Red Alliance knows they've got to get big.
Last second shots. Blue, though, completes their hangs. They've got 36 points on the board. Red, 33-22, stayed out on the field to try to get a couple of extra shots. They go late, and it could just be the 54-60 robot issues decided it.
Well, the Blue Alliance is happy. That lead is 14 points pre-hang.
Yeah, and they stretched that lead in the hang. 50-90 did sag down and touch the ground here, but I think they were up 5 seconds after the match.
Here's some of the defense that was in play early.
But you can already see 54-60 is already having issues here before the defense. Right? They were trying to get that locked on, trying to shoot. It wasn't happening. And you know, they aren't defended there and don't pull the trigger either. So the question is, when did they run into issues? So that they pushed 54-60 into the bar there and kind of got them stuck, and that might have damaged their shooter as well.
Is that a penalty?
So it's only a penalty if they're touching the panel on the side, and I think the bar itself I think does protect you if you're trying to hang, but I don't believe a penalty was called for that.
A lot of anticipation here. The cameras are pointed on them for one reason. They think they're going to be state champions here at the Riders Center and head to Houston with all kinds of enthusiasm and excitement. And again, the officials all kind of grouped up and huddled there.
So we saw a couple of waved flags. And so they're probably just trying to decide if those flags should be called for a penalty or not. So one of them, they're probably discussing when 54-60 was pushed into the bar. And then we did see one other flag wave earlier in the match, and that may or may not be, I mean, that would be a 4-point penalty, so that penalty is not going to affect the outcome. The only thing that could really affect the outcome here is if they gave a free 15-point hang to a robot. So you can't defend robots when they're hanging. And so possibly that 15-point free hang could make a difference. And that's probably what they're discussing. But also, you know, the refs are kind of breaking up, and instead we have the FTAs looking at the screen here. And so what we might be seeing instead is the refs are hanging out. There's no call from the refs coming forward. They're double checking that the scoring apparatus worked correctly, that we didn't get any miscounts.
You said the Blue Alliance is very steady, holding that pose. That's its own kind of anxiety, waiting for that announcement to hopefully find out you're a state champion.
And Blue knows that they won this match if nothing happens, right? If the hangs are scored as shown, and there's no crazy miscounts, there's no replay that has to happen, or there's no big scoring adjustment, Blue's got it. So they're sitting there relatively comfortably, but the longer we wait, the longer they're going to kind of be, you know, questioning it.
Yeah, they're not getting less anxious, let's put it that way.
Right. Another thing to see is that the Blue Alliance has nobody in the question box. So at the end of a match, you can send a representative over to the question box to talk to the head ref or the FTAs about something that you think went wrong with either the field or the robot or a call. The Red Alliance is hanging out by the question mark box. That may or may not be just where they happen to be standing. But it looks like they may have some questions for the ref. Blue is not there trying to sort of counter lobby. They have no questions right now. They're just waiting for, you know, what they hope is the score to go through as shown.
But to your eye, you didn't see anything egregious enough that would sway the score in favor of Red.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks like the refs have made up their mind on getting hit into the bar there, and that's not going to be, that's not going to be anything that'll change it. So really what we're waiting for is confirmation that the scoring system worked correctly, or at least good enough that they can determine it didn't affect the outcome of the match. Because again, we see head ref looking at sort of the FTAs there by the scoring computer. They probably are reviewing the numbers, and if there's something amiss, they probably have sent a message again to their support person who will be checking into things as well. So there's something there that they think, there's obviously something there that they think might have been impactful, and they have to kind of run it down and make sure that it was not an issue.
And there's areas designated where a member of each alliance can go, right? Because
yeah, and that's what we see on the other side of the scoring table from where this meeting is happening. We can see the Red Alliance is there, kind of gathered together, looking to ask some questions at the end of the outcome of this, pending maybe the outcome of this. Blue Alliance again, just want them to put the score up because they won if the score stays the same. This is a little bit of a turnabout for 23-37, right? We were in Troy. We had a long delay after our last match where 23-37's Alliance had lost on the field, but we're hoping for a call that could have changed the outcome of it.
Right.
And actually, they were playing against 27 in that match. So 27 is looking to go 2 for 2 on these nail-biting end-of-tournament calls. And 23-37 is looking to turn their luck around here.
yeah, nice grab.
We'll see. We're not really getting any information for what's going on here.
So now that's the Blue Alliance. They've huddled up.
They got tired of the arms around each other.
They're not holding that pose anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made it nearly as long as they made it. So credit where credit is due.
Again, it stands now. It is a 108-94 lead for the Blue Alliance. That's unofficial, and obviously there is a lengthy analysis that you think is scoring related, not penalty related.
Yep, they chose not to kind of give us any info on what's going on. We do have somebody down by the scoring table, but this one they're playing close to their vest. Again, with the people here that are making this decision, it's a scoring issue. And the fact that they're still discussing it means that the conversation is not about whether or not there was a scoring issue. The conversation is about whether or not it would necessitate another match. So if the counters were wrong, right? But the counters were wrong by 1 ball, it's not going to change the final score.
Right.
It's not going to change how anybody would have played during the match. But if it's more than that, we start to get into gray area, and I don't know where we're going to land in that area. I do see the robots are being prepared for another match. Everybody is acting like there might be another match, so they are going through their checks. We can see, especially in 35-38's pit, they are resetting that robot up as though there was going to be another match played. Now, that may mean they have info. That might mean they know nothing, but it's the smart thing to do to not get caught flat-footed if there is a replay.
Okay, to take a deeper dive, here's the thing. If you're the Blue Alliance, you think that you have this one pretty well in the bag. If something does come and overturn it, even if it's just, hey, we just have to play another match, that's got to be tough to not have an emotional letdown.
Yep, yeah, for sure. And that's like what I said, there's sort of those gut checkpoints, right? And if you let the thought creep into your head of, man, we just won it, if only this didn't happen. If you start thinking like that, you're not going out in the next match thinking, we're going to win this match too.
Right.
You're thinking about, man, we lost our chance and now, we might get beaten. So they've got to keep that focus there.
And we would have to have some sort of formal announcement as to why they're playing another match, right? Would they have to announce that
Once
somehow?
they decide, they will make an announcement, especially for something like this. at least to the teams, I feel like with this long of a delay, they've got to announce it to the arena as well. So we see now that is Jacob again. He is talking to a team about the team's concerns.
And if he's going to talk to another team, well, they both have to get the same information, obviously. So
right. So the question is, was that information based on the current situation, or was their question unrelated to what he's doing? And we just need to wait and see if he heads over to the other side of the field here.
Yeah, we have to be respectful of their communication dynamic of what they're doing internally. So that's why we're kind of giving them their space to work in.
We get to play guessing games with everybody else watching.
We did see somebody flash a thumbs up. So that might indicate that there is more robotics to be played here.
Yeah, the way that they went back to their pits, the Red Alliance, after talking to Jacob there, they went back kind of with purpose, right? Their heads did not drop. So we're going to get the announcement now.
During that match, we've been on the phone with New Hampshire. During that match, there was wireless congestion and high latency in the communications with the robots on the Red Alliance end. Therefore, we are going to replay this match.
Okay, explain that.
So they found a way to have a replay that we did not mention at all. We've had so much trouble with the scoring mechanisms on the hub here that seemed like the obvious culprit. That was not the case. The issue was basically when you're controlling the robot, we're controlling it wirelessly over a network the same as you might have in your house or at work. And a trip time is how long it takes information to go from the controller, like say go forward to the robot. How long does it take for that to get to the robot? And then back to the controller to say, yes, we've done that. And in this case, an entire alliance had trip times that were very, very high. You expect those trip times to be very small, like 10, 15, maybe 20 milliseconds. If they start getting up over 100 milliseconds, you can really feel that. If you play any online games, which I'm sure you're an avid gamer, once you have a ping of like 100, 200, I mean, we're talking about 200 milliseconds is a fifth of a second. And if everything that you do on the robot happens a fifth of a second after you try to input the control, that's very hard to drive. And because the situation here is that all 3 red robots were affected, that means that it is likely not the fault of any of the red robots. Instead, there's a really good chance that there was too much wireless noise on the channel that they were using. And that might be the fault of people in the stands having hotspots on their phone turned on, which you're not supposed to do. It might be the venue wireless did something that we didn't expect. It might be just some weird unrelated cosmic occurrence, but we know that there was too much noise on the channel that the red robots were on. They weren't able to control their robots effectively, so we're going to play again.
How do they know that? How do they, what system checks that for either alliance?
So on the field where they are, there is a log. There's basically a computer running the field, a big server computer running the field, and it logs all of this data. And so trip time is one of the things we log. We also log like your battery voltage. We'll log how much camera bandwidth is being used, how much bandwidth your camera is using, as well as the state that your robot is put in. So in this case, what they were able to do is at the end of the match, whether prompted or not, somebody from the Red Alliance might have come up and said, hey, that was fishy. We didn't have good control of our robots. They went back to the logs. They would have checked through the logs. It would have been bad enough that they would have then sent it on to the expert at this, who is their support person in Manchester from First Headquarters. They would have looked at this as well. So that decision was made by basically everybody collaboratively, but the final decision, yes, was probably made off-site, that they saw something that they know was consistent with basically wireless traffic on that channel.
Let's go downstairs. Kaylee is talking with the Blue Alliance, and Luke joins her right now. Kaylee?
Yeah, guys, this is Luke. He's from Rush. Luke, I mean, you guys celebrated. You feel like you won it all. There was so much excitement, and then to have it kind of all fall down, how do you recover from that?
Yeah, so it was definitely a little rattling for us, but we know that
You know, we've been doing one ball at a time and one match at a time. It's what our coach, Mrs. Hughes, always says, and that we know where we came from, we know where we want to go. It's just going from point A to point B now. I trust our drive team, I trust the Alliance team, and I know that it was the right call, and I trust them, and I believe that we can come back from it.
What do you have to keep in your mind through this match?
I think definitely keeping our mind is patience. One of the things that we actually did with both other teams on our alliance is last night we met in a hotel room, all three teams on the alliance, to discuss, teamwork, how we were going to do this. It helped grow a lot of trust and teamwork between the teams, and we know that all three of these teams, two of the other teams, trust us. They know where we came from. We know where they came from. We've all worked very hard to get where we are, and we know that we can do this.
What are you going to go back and talk to the rest of your alliance? You guys have a little break right now. What do you think you're going to be talking about?
Definitely, as I said, reminding them of patience and everything, and teamwork, of course. But we talk about, our strategy recently has been a lot of offensive play with an opportunistic defense, meaning we're going from point A to point B. If it comes up and we have the opportunity, we might defend somewhere in between there. But as you've been seeing in the scores, have been very high-scoring matches. Again, our teams have been doing really great, and I believe that we have a chance against this.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Dan and Dan?
All right, Kaylee, thanks. Well, I mean, he said all the right things.
Yep. It's a smart strategy.
Yeah.
They've got a handle on what they need to do.
And Red Alliance, I mean, like I said, I mean, hey, it's not like you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Was the onus on someone from the Red Alliance to know or sense that, or was that just like a desperation? Hey, maybe we can always ask.
The field people, if they spot it, can say, hey, this was an issue and bring it to the team's attention. But in that match, it looked like the Red Alliance left the field, discussed some stuff, came back with they had laptops up there, and those are probably their driver station laptops. And actually, the driver station laptop also logs that data.
Okay.
So they were probably trying to show the same logs that they were looking at already on the field.
Got it.
Yep. And I just got to add, so one of the mentors for 5460, when they made the finals, sent a message on Slack. The last time they were in the finals, actually with 3538 was playing the finals too, in 2019, it took 5 matches to determine a winner. He told me, hey, we made the final field again. Is it going to take 5 matches? Well, it's going to take at least 4.
Let's get back downstairs with Kaylee talking with someone from the Red Alliance.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here with Ashley. Tell me how you're feeling. What are you thinking right now?
I feel like a lot of emotions. It's been a very stressful day, but we're so far really happy where we've just gotten. We had a rough day for the past few, so we're pretty excited about it right now.
Tell me what happened in this last match.
So we actually felt lag during our match, and so we noticed, and we were like, we want to make sure we want to validate that. So we asked our alliance partners. They validated that is true, and so we talked to the refs, and yeah.
That's okay. What's going to be your mentality going into this? You guys almost got a second chance at this.
I think we're just all trying to stay positive, stay focused. That's a huge thing on our team. Just being focused, being vigilant, making sure that everything is going smoothly, being rock solid during this match.
Anything you feel like you need to change from the last match into this next one?
I don't know if we would say change, just make sure we are just solid, keep going with everything, and just making sure we are consistent with what we are doing.
Okay, thank you, Ashley, and good luck. Back up to you guys.
Thanks. Your intel, spot on, Dan.
Yep.
Well done.
It's always nice when they agree with me. And that we had called out a little bit 5460 and 3538 a little bit for their driving in that match. Now we know it wasn't their fault.
Yeah. So we will reset and reload.
Again, of course, because we're playing back-to-back matches, we had the field timeout so they could reset their robots. It was a very long field timeout because we had the discussion for a bit before they decided to turn the timeout timer on. But we do have all of the robots, I think, moving towards the field. I see at least 4 of them.
Blue has 2 of their robots on the field already, so Red Alliance is going to step up and...
Yep, Red has 2 at the gate. Blue's got their last one, so we are just waiting for 5460. who are now rolling over towards the gate as well. So now it's tough. We played a whole match, but I don't think we learned anything, because if they weren't able to drive at the level they're driving, you can't really make any strategic adjustments based on that. I guess it was a chance for everybody to kind of tip their hand. We now know that red looks like they're going to stick with 3 robots on offense, and blue is going to stick with 2 robots on offense and 1 robot on defense.
Yeah, I guess the challenge for Blue Alliance might be for your defensive robot. Do you play like a zone defense where you're just going to try to hit the closest robot that's nearest you, or do you kind of target one and hope that you can disrupt that one enough to make a big difference? I don't know.
The zone defense can be very effective if the robots are sort of coming together to the same areas on the field. This Red Alliance has been very, very disciplined with maintaining their sort of quadrants on the field. So it doesn't leave a lot of opportunity for switching who you're defending on. There might be some moments that they should take advantage of if they happen. But it looks like, in the last 2 matches, 50-90, one of them didn't count, right? But the last 2 matches that we watched, 50-90 was playing man defense on 54-60 on strike zone. And I would expect them to go back to that. We have seen strike zone against defense having some issues in the past at previous events. So I think they've decided that from what they've seen scouting-wise, that 54-60 is the best target here. Last match where all the robots were working, Blue won at 152 to 146. We can't stress this enough. 6 points is nothing. It's a missed climb, it's a missed ball in auto, or a couple of missed shots in teleop.
Ladies and gentlemen, finals number 3 again. All right. Monarch Red Alliance, Team 54-60. From Lapeer, Michigan, it's strike zone.
Everything looks set up. All of the autonomous modes are going to be the same. Everybody's starting in the same spot that they've been starting in all afternoon.
So, Dan, who has an advantage here? The team that thinks that they won, or the team that maybe has new life?
It definitely feels like the momentum is in the Blue Alliance's favor. They came back with that defensive swap. It worked well enough in the first match. It looked like it was working great in that third match that didn't count. So it's going to be up to Red to sort of shake that feeling off and go out there like they can keep up in scoring and take the victory.
Well, we have thumbs down there. I never liked thumbs down.
Yep.
Right.
Set of thumbs downs. That is camera. They
Oh,
got it now.
all right.
They're good.
Thumbs up to thumbs up.
So that's it. We're ready to go.
The winner is going to be Michigan First champions. But we have to make sure we have a verified winner first. That's why we're replaying this match.
And again, it's something outside of the team's control. You've got to replay it.
Yeah. So all is well and good. All is well and good in autonomous mode for everybody. Oh, one red wins.
And only one shot from 27 at the end. Are we tied? No, one ball extra for blue. That earlier miss.
Let's
this
see
is better for red.
See where the defense comes from. A lot of blue cargo going up. Red follows suit.
35-38 looking way better at the start of this match than the last one. They are actually outpacing 27 right now in shots. 54-60 still has to get free from the defense here.
Red Alliance taking advantage of an opening. Now blue cargo. 4 balls go in.
54-60 stuck on a ball. They need a teammate to come and bump them off of that, and they need it now.
Oh, the blue is going to help them.
Look at 50-90.
By boxing them out.
Yep, smart move by 50-90 to swap defense
so
there.
Critical. It's still close, though. That glitch for Red Alliance didn't really hurt them a ton.
33-22 doing a great job. 54-60 had a miss grab there. They had to spit a ball out and pick it back up. But it's not growing. The lead's not growing much.
Yeah, good Alliance, good Blue Alliance defense. Still very close.
This is a good move by 54-60. They faded back to that protected area, and 50-90 basically just getting in the way at 27. Now 50-90 has to switch fields and try to defend 35-38 instead.
Oh, wow. Big hit for Blue Cargo in that upper hub. Look at, they bumped the lead up to more than 10. That's tangible.
Yep.
Very tangible. And
Lots of balls available.
That's going to force Red to maybe take some extra cargo shots and keep them from hanging.
54-60 shots going low, and that's hurting even more. Red is going to have to push it a little bit late in this match. They've got to get another couple of rounds off.
Blue willing to take more cargo points
and
than
this
they will hang.
50-90 is now in the zone.
Gosh.
That could be a penalty, or it could be great defense. I don't know. I didn't see a flag. So they can't defend somebody that's in the zone, but they stayed outside of the zone just barely.
Blue Alliance has all their robots hanging. That might be enough.
So that final match sequence there, there was a penalty earlier that had some effect on this. It's nearly tied going into the end game, but 50-90 played some extremely gutsy defense on the border of the safe zone. If they don't get called, if they were clean that whole time, they basically prevented 35-38 from getting their traversal climb. Also 54-60 unable to get their traversal climb. Looks like they missed one of their hooks again. So they're just kind of hanging there. They're not up. We see somebody running out, trying to rescue some robots here quickly.
Yeah.
The refs are discussing. This time the refs are definitely discussing.
So it is a 116-111 lead for Blue Alliance now, pre-hanger zone. And it looks like Blue is going to bang up a lot or grab a lot of points.
36 points
in the hanger zone.
In the end game, yep.
Which would mean game over for Red Alliance. Here's some defense.
Yep, 50-90, great job playing defense this whole match. I mean, they were the difference maker, but that was just kind of unlucky. 54-60 spun, ended up on top of a ball. They were a little bit destabilized by 50-90, not caused by 50-90 though. And so smart move by 35-38, coming back to try to rescue their partner, but that's lost time for 54-60 and lost time for 35-38. And we can see in the end game, 54-60 needs this traversal while 50-90 keeps 35-38 away from the hanging zone. Now, that defense was high. Their bumper was on top of 35-38, so they were defending inside the frame perimeter, but if there's no damage there, it's not going to be a massive penalty, maybe 4-point penalty for that. But they held just long enough to stop 35-38 from being able to climb.
Well, they have announced the final score here inside the Riders Center, and you'll see it here. 152-127, a Blue Alliance wins. A win with hanger points making a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, 27 and 23-37 did what we expected. They went out, they scored a bunch of goals in the high goal, but 50-90, absolutely the star of that match in my eyes. They essentially shut down 54-60 for large portions of the match, and they stopped that hang at the end, which was integral in just icing the win.
There's the celebration as this crowd here inside finds out. There's your champions.
And again, we called them the favorites going into this event. Two of the top robots in the state. 27, probably the best robot in the state to this point. 23-37, another excellent offensive robot. And 50-90, switching it up, adding some offense early in the playoffs here, but switching it up to defense and bringing it home.
Well, they held that pose for so long earlier, and then it never really came to fruition. And this time, well, they'll have a different picture, and everybody gets to hug and enjoy the excitement of winning the Michigan First Robotics Championship.
Yep, they didn't have to wait as long this time. The refs have a little bit of a discussion there at the end. But once again, We don't want it decided by the refs. If possible, penalties deciding the outcome of a match is never fun. And in this case, I think, again, they made the right call, and Blue Alliance takes it.
So it went a little longer than we thought, but everybody's happy for the Blue Alliance. Let's go down to the winner's circle and join Kaylee Marentet. Kaylee?
You guys are champions! Yay! Congratulations! So excited that you're joining me here. Tell me, where's your mind at right now?
Oh, it's all over the place. I am just thrilled. This is my first state championship that I've attended. First state championship win, so I'm very happy right now.
It's a good visit, huh?
Yes.
Tell me about that celebration.
Well, this is a culmination of several months of work. This is our team's first state championship ever, so we're pretty excited to have made it this far.
And I saw, some of your teammates just are so, you guys are all into it, but I saw yours pounding on the floor and jumping around. Does that kind of describe your team, just passion?
Yeah, especially just with the competition that we've had, we try to take things one step at a time and just leaving stuff behind as we go, but it still gets to you a little bit. And there's been a lot of just emotions and also trying to keep those emotions under control and focus. And then it was all of that was just released at the very end.
So you guys obviously did not have the win the first time that you thought you did. How did your mindset have to change?
Well, really, once we started talking with the ref, it was all right, let's prepare for the worst, get our robots get fixed. We did it 2 times already, technically, so why not do it a third? And it's just another match to have a great time and have fun.
You guys had fun, right? I had fun. I had fun watching you guys, so congratulations again on being champions. And Dan, we're going to send it back to you.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, very happy down there. Of course, what a great effort and poise under pressure. They had to delay the celebration a little bit, but in the end, it's all worth it. Dan, how about some final thoughts from you?
Yeah, absolutely deserving Alliance taking it home today. We had 2 great alliances in the finals, but this was our favorite going in, and they showed it there in the final match. There's some interesting footage here to be watched for anybody that is going to the World Championship. We got to see a 3-robot offensive strategy go against a 2 offensive and 1 defensive robot strategy. And the defense reigns supreme today, so keep that in mind if you're going forward to Worlds.
One more trip downstairs as we reconnect with Kaylee.
Hey guys, energy is still really high down here. Everyone's super excited. Obviously some bumps along the road to the championship, thinking they had it all and then had to go back, change their mindset like you heard, and be patient and just try to do what they could do. I heard a lot of 1 ball at a time, 1 climb at a time, just trying to take this step by step, and they say that's what got them this win. Overall, really excited. Still a lot of camaraderie and a lot of friendship down here. People excited for those winners, but we're gonna send it back up to you guys.
Job. That is a wrap for all of us from Saginaw, Michigan. We've had a great experience presenting all this robotics to you, and we thank you for being part of our experience. For Kaylee Marentet and Dan Kimura, along with the entire CVM production team, I'm Dan Gutowski. We say so long from Saginaw Valley State University, the state champions in Michigan First Robotics, Trenton High School, Clarkston High School, and Grand Blanc High School. Congratulations. We'll see you next year.